contrast, it said they believe they need assurances from other countries, particularly the United States, and don't think talks with the Afghan government by itself would be particularly meaningful. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global. UPI reports as California firefighters battled the largest fires in state's history, Verizon slowed wireless data speeds to a crawl, making it almost impossible for emergency personnel to use some of its high-tech tracking equipment. Santa Clara County Fire Chief Anthony Bowden said emergency personnel heavily rely on internet services to monitor fast-moving fires and coordinate resources. The fire department has an unlimited government plan with Verizon, but the company slowed or throttled data speeds once the agency reached a certain threshold, according to Bowden in an August 20th court filing. Bowden said the internet has become an essential tool in providing fire and emergency response, particularly for events like large fires, which require the rapid deployment and organization of thousands of personnel and hundreds of fire engines, aircraft, and bulldozers. Keeping emergency personnel connected requires a lot of data. While battling the Mendocino Complex fire, Bowden said his department's mobile communications center sent and received 5 to 10 gigabytes of data through a wireless router daily. During that time, Verizon reduced speeds that slowed service of the equipment to dial-up speeds. Santa Clara County Fire Captain Bill Murphy told CNN simple tasks like sending an email or updating a Google document were almost impossible. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports a federal judge sentenced former U.S. intelligence contractor Reality Winner on Thursday to more than 5 years in prison after she admitted leaking a top-secret report on Russian interference in U.S. elections to a media outlet. Winner, who has spent already nearly 2 years in jail, pled guilty in June to passing the National Security Agency report to The Intercept in 2016. One of her attorneys, Titus Nichols, said Winner is receiving credit for the time she spent in pretrial confinement. During a hearing in Winner's hometown of Augusta, Georgia, Judge James Hall approved her lawyer's request for a 63-month sentence, followed by 3 years of supervised release, according to Nichols. It was one of the longest sentences ever given to someone for illegally disclosing government information, according to Nichols. Winner's attorneys said in a statement the sentence and accompanying plea agreement both reflect that Reality recognizes that actions have consequences and that she has learned from her mistakes and is prepared to accept the consequences of her actions. Winner admitted to intentionally printing a copy of the intelligence report in her office and mailing it to the news outlet. She was indicted on a single federal count of willful retention and transmission of national defense information, a felony under the Espionage and Censorship Act that carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Betsy Reed, editor-in-chief of The Intercept, said in a statement that Winner should be honored and that her sentencing and other prosecutions of whistleblowers were attacks on freedom of speech and of the press. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Following reports earlier today that Indiana University freshman Lawrence Plotnick's roommate Brian Tabor has found an excuse to go home every weekend since August, Plotnick spoke to Onion reporters about his roommate's frequent trips to his nearby hometown of Terre Haute, Indiana.
Every week since we got here, it seems like every time I ask him if he wants to hang out on Friday, he has some wedding or birthday party or something. In fact, I'm pretty sure he hasn't spent a single Friday or Saturday night on campus in the past 6 months.
Plotnick went on to cite a variety of far-ranging excuses used by his roommate to justify his constant visits home, including various family functions, a visiting friend from China, as well as his occasional desire to, quote, just hang out at home for a couple of days.
I mean, I suppose I vaguely understood when he had to go back in November because his best friend's grandfather died, but last weekend he had to go back for his aunt and uncle's wedding anniversary. He said he couldn't miss it.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. This is Free Talk Live, and you're invited to take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Chris.
And Darryl.
Don't forget, you got a high-quality way to connect to the show if you want through our Discord server on the Discord on-air call-in line rooms, which are there at the top of our list of chat rooms that you can access over at discord.lrn.fm. It helps if you have the Discord app, which you can get for pretty much any old operating system that you might possibly have, except for Windows Phone. I don't think they have... I don't think they have the Windows Phone. There was a headline here, just worth just sharing the headline. Microsoft has revealed that they are no longer developing new features or hardware for Windows 10 Mobile, which means the Windows Phone is effectively a dead platform, according to TheVerge.com. So, well, I never really had one, so there's not much to miss.
I don't think anybody really had one. It was
I met
stillbirth.
somebody with one.
There are probably like 5 people.
Yeah, I met one person. I think it was like JP
you know what?
or something.
I think the only person I've ever heard, I take that back. I think I did hear about somebody who had one once, and they got it from Microsoft for free as a developer or something.
And now it's a doorstop.
Yeah.
All right, but we're actually going to start out by talking about phones, and then we've got some other internet-related news where China's president is saying the internet should be clean and righteous, not vulgar. So we can get into some of that, plus Venezuelan news that Darryl's got to share, and good news about psilocybin mushrooms being approved for apparently some trial studies, or a trial study here in the United States. So a lot of interesting stuff to talk about tonight. But let's start with the tech side of things. Chris, you're the founder, one of the folks behind the scenes over at thinkpenguin.com, which is a website at which people can get privacy-centric hardware, I guess would be probably the best way to describe the products that you have.
Yeah, we sell Linux computers, basically, and hardware, and any kind of accessory you might need for them.
You pay a lot of attention to tech-related news, as you always bring in some interesting stories. Tonight we're going way across the pond to Australia, where they're cracking down on people who won't unlock their phones.
Yeah, I definitely learned something new about Australia with this story. I knew the UK had some pretty strict encryption laws on the books.
Really?
Apparently Australia does too, and this is looking to strengthen them. So basically this...
Now, I've got a question here, because I see an article from RT about this, and they're referring to this as proposed legislation. Has this actually been passed, or is it just something that some members of parliament are talking?
This has been proposed, and I guess it's going through an evaluation process right now.
Okay.
But I'll read the story a little bit, and
Where's it from? Where's the story?
So this is from, I'm not sure, nakedsecurity.sofus.com.
Okay.
Australians, and the title of the article is Australians Won't Unlock Their Phones, Could Face 10 Years in Jail. So the story is actually like a 2-part situation where basically the Australian government wants to force companies to basically put a backdoor in the phone, it sounds like. And if that doesn't work, then the user could end up in jail for 10 years.
So this is interesting because we've talked, without even getting into the story yet, but we've talked about the news story surrounding the United States government demanding that, say, Apple put a backdoor in or break the encryption on their phones. Remember the San Bernardino shooters? Absolutely. And so we talked about that. In fact, we covered it recently again here on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, there was another case, I forget from where, but it referenced that San Bernardino.
They still want to get in. They're not going to stop demanding access, backdoors.
Oh, it was the Facebook Messenger thing.
That's right. And so far these companies have been fighting back against the U.S. government, and the government hasn't gotten anywhere ultimately in the
U.S.
United
government
States.
Has, yeah.
But it makes me wonder if the U.S. government's courts continue to support the company's rights to make their own programs and not have to put backdoors in. If Australia's government goes ahead and says you must put a backdoor in, well, that's going to break their encryption across the board. They're not going to have a special package just for other countries in the world. It's going to be across the board. They're going to have one set, and that will break everything, won't it?
It's certainly a threat. It's certainly a danger to everybody's security, I would argue. And The U.S. Government has had some rulings in its favor as far as handing over like passwords and things. And I don't remember exact details, but it was something to the effect of if you provided a password and then later, you can't refuse to provide it again or something to that effect. So never like identify the fact that you have the password or know the password or it's your device or anything.
Right.
You got to.
The less you say to the police, the better.
Or not deny. You don't want to deny either. You want
better to just say nothing.
Say nothing.
Yeah.
Is and they're going to try and get you to admit that it's your device.
There have been,
but that might not be the best idea.
There have been court cases, and I forget the exact wording from the various courts, but the courts have differentiated between a thing you know, which is a password, and a thing you have, such as a fingerprint. And a lot of the phones now, they're unlocked with fingerprint or some other device. So
which
if
they can force you to do that.
Right. They can force your thumb onto the screen, but they can't force your brain to recall a word.
Yep.
Hence the difference between the thing you know, the thing you have.
So it's a bad idea to have the fingerprint as your only solution. Although Johnson Johnson, who has an iPhone, I think he's the only co-host here who does, he says there is some sort of method with the fingerprint thing to where if you tap it a certain number of times, it will lock down that access mode. So I don't know how many times you have to tap it. It might have been like 3 or 10 or something like that. But
but then they'll charge you with like destruction of evidence or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems too risky.
Of justice.
Obstruction. Yeah.
Or what if they grab the phone from you before you have the chance to?
Yeah, the best thing to do is just to have a password, not a PIN, not a code, a 4-digit or 6-digit code, but an actual password's your best thing to do. It's a pain in the neck, but it's worth it because if they turn the phone off, the forensics people will not be able to access it probably. Now, if they don't turn the phone off or you don't turn the phone off before they get to it, they may still be able to get into it even if there is a password on it. But
probably best to not keep any real secrets on your phone
phones
anyway.
Are notoriously insecure by design. They all have what's called a modem, and that modem is basically updatable by a cellular provider, and as a result, they can upload basically a backdoor, and they can access anything on the rest of the device. So any kind of encryption you've got on your phone is totally worthless. At least
because they've got you from the inside.
At least from any kind of like NSA kind of standpoint.
Tell me more about this Australian.
But before we do, Chris, you had mentioned that that the UK has a law. The RT mentions that existing law in Australia
it's the same as UK,
makes it punishable up to 2 years for failing to give investigators access when a, quote, serious crime is involved. This seeks to expand this a little bit.
Yeah. Basically, Australia sounds like it has the same law as the UK, which is seriously dangerous.
Right.
But let's get into the story a little bit. The Australian government wants to force companies to help it get at suspected criminals' data. If they can't, it would jail people for up to a decade if they refuse to unlock their phones. The country's Assistance and Access Bill, introduced this week for public consultation, strengthens the penalties for people who refuse to unlock their phones for the police. Under Australia's existing Crimes Act, judges could jail a person for 2 years, which is the same as UK.
So it already is there. They're just talking about quadrupling the or quintupling the amount of time you're going to spend in prison.
Yeah, for not handling over their data.
To basically scare people into compliance.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what this is.
Most people are going to comply on a 2-year threat, but yes, 10 is certainly much scarier.
It's interesting because in a lot of cases, the crimes that they're investigating, the penalty if they convict you is greater than 2 years. So if that's the case, it may be wise even to suffer the 2 years.
Wow, it's crazy.
But but the problem that you'll probably find is they'll probably end up getting a conviction on both that and this crime. So they're just gonna, they basically pile on the charges.
Yep.
Now, I don't know how it works in Australia or the UK, but I know how it is in the US. And in the US, they certainly, if they had a law like this, they would just be piling on the charges.
We're going to continue. There's more to that story. Plus, also in the world of kind of internet tech news. China is, well, as you know, they've been cracking down on the internet, and we'll share what the Chinese president had to say about it coming up here in moments. Your calls, your thoughts, welcome. Plus, more international news from Venezuela, where things are, well, they're not getting any better. 855-450-3733. Join us on the radio. It's Free Talk Live.
Ike was such such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global. Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm. Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll free, bring up what you want. You can take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We also have Discord with Discord on-air call-in lines that you can use. You'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us tonight. It's Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
And I want to make sure that you know about Bitcoin.com. That's where you can go to learn more about cryptocurrency. Get started in the world of Bitcoin over at Bitcoin.com. And the folks over at Bitcoin.com want you to know that you can use your Bitcoin Cash now over at Save It Purse. So I've been using SaveItPurse.com constantly, basically. I think you're probably one of the only people that uses it more than I do, Chris, because I know you buy stuff for your business on there. But whatever it is I need from Amazon, I always use SaveATPurse.com because I'm going to save 20% at minimum. Sometimes the stuff I've been getting recently, I've been shooting for 29%, and I've been getting it.
Yeah.
So you can do this.
You can definitely get it. 28, 29%, definitely.
And it's so easy, and you can use Bitcoin Cash now. That's what the folks over at Bitcoin.com want you to know. You can deposit Bitcoin Cash to fund your account at SaveItPurse.com. If you want to save big time on Amazon, you can do it now with Bitcoin Cash. SaveATPurse.com as we continue here. We're talking about the Australian government cracking down even harder. Perhaps it's proposed, but if it's already at 2 years punishment, prison time for refusing to give a password over to an electronic device of yours. Let's say they arrest you for, is it for any crime or is it just for murderers or something like that?
I think they might have used the word serious crime, but I'm not 100% sure.
The RT article references serious crime.
But who knows what they consider to be a serious crime?
It might just be, it could be a misdemeanor even, so it could be not really a serious crime.
So
walking across the street.
Right, things we consider to be not serious.
Jaywalking.
Growing marijuana.
Jaywalking's not a misdemeanor.
How about growing marijuana?
Oh, that's true.
That's a felony. In most places.
Sure, disorderly conduct, though. I mean, yelling, real loud or something, or not even doing that.
Who knows?
Or just the charge alone, even if you didn't do what they say.
Yeah, I don't know what they consider to be a serious crime, but either way, if you don't hand over your cell phone password or laptop password or whatever password to get into your device, you may be facing 2 years in prison, and if this bill goes through, it goes to 10.
Yeah, the proposed bill extends that up to 10 years, arguing that the existing penalty wasn't strong enough. Yikes, man. That's insane. The bill takes a multi-pronged approach to accessing a suspect's data by cooperating third parties to help the authorities. New rules apply to communication service providers, which is a definition with a broad scope. It covers not only telcos, but also device vendors and application publishers, as long as they have a nexus to Australia. These companies would be subject to two kinds of government order that would compel them to help retrieve a suspect's information. The first of these is a technical...
So this is a two-part bill where they're going to target an individual with 10 years in prison, and then on the other hand, they want to go after the companies?
Yes. So they want the companies to force them to put a back door in, from the sounds of it. And if they can't, because the company that is producing the product doesn't have a nexus, meaning they don't have an operation in Australia.
An office.
So if, for example, maybe Apple doesn't operate, I mean, I'm sure they probably do, but let's say a smaller company doesn't, like maybe some Android phone maker that doesn't have business. They might have other companies selling that product in Australia, but they don't actually operate in Australia, so they have no nexus. Those types of situations might be such that they'll force the 10 years on somebody if they can't otherwise get access to the phone. It's pretty serious stuff.
Tell me more.
Yeah, the first of these technical assistance notice that requires telcos to hand over any decryption keys they hold, which they may not have. This notice would help the government but they might have to add those. They might have to do it a different way, the encryption.
Right, so because encryption can be done client side, right? Where the company doesn't even know what the key... They have nothing to hand over because the way the system is designed, it's all on the person's device.
Right, like the Apple encryption. You set the password. Apple doesn't store that password in a database.
Correct.
Yeah, and this is a case.
You forget the password, it's gone forever.
Signal, I believe, supposedly doesn't hold your keys, so they can't decrypt anything unless, of course, they put out some sort of update to compromise that security. And so basically what this is saying is that those companies would be forced to push out an update maybe to that particular device that they want to compromise, and then all of a sudden that would be compromisable.
Or they would, or they'd have to leave the country, right? Like if they didn't want to go along with this, if they didn't want to become Australia's bitch and have the Australian government force them to completely change their systems, they'd have to shut down operations there.
And surprisingly, that's happened once before.
Someone has shut down a company?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the name of the company.
Didn't Kim.com shut down a company to not comply with something?
LavaBit did.
LavaBit, that's the one I'm thinking of, yeah. Yeah, LavaBit did, which is highly unusual.
That was an email provider.
That was
for listeners that don't know. It was a private email provider, and he was ordered to hand over his encryption key. and he printed out the encryption key in like 4-point font and then handed that over. So he did what the court asked him to do. Of course, the way they were expecting it was in a digital file, but he actually gave them the actual encryption key just in text form on a printed page.
His objection was something to the effect of then you could access any of the emails,
in the whole
just
system.
A specific email.
Right.
And he would have complied with a specific email. So they really kind of screwed, that was a really terrible ruling.
Right. So I've got a question about this. Let's say that Apple decides, you know what? We don't want to comply with this new law in Australia. We are shutting down the Apple stores in Australia.
Yep.
But somebody decides, oh, you know what? I can call up my cousin that lives in America. He can go to the Apple store, buy an iPhone, whatever.
Well, presumably they could still ship the phone in. I mean, Apple would still be able to ship a phone into Australia unless it became a banned product.
That they might decide we're not doing business in Australia because we don't want this Nexus thing applied to us. Well, we will not sell a product to in Australia.
Hold on.
Hold on. Let me finish my thought here. And some Australian guy calls up his American cousin and says, go to the Apple store, buy the new iPhone, and then you mail that to me. Does that create a nexus between Apple and Australia?
Does it create a nexus?
Or does it only create the nexus if Apple directly sends the phone?
Does it even create a nexus if they send the phone? Is a nexus a physical location within a political geographic boundary?
So not based on various interpretations of various laws that currently exist.
Yeah, I mean, it's the nexus is essentially defined by the state. So in the United States, nexus would be Netflix, for example, had nexus because they sent, even though they didn't operate in other states necessarily, they would ship their property, the DVDs at one time, into those states, and that created a nexus for them.
Really? Oh, Ian still gets the DVDs.
Okay.
I do. I get the Blu-rays.
Like once every 7 months.
Yeah, so they would have to collect sales tax in the case of Netflix in those states that they didn't operate. But so theoretically, it sort of depends on what Australia considers nexus. But obviously, if Australia comes down with a ruling, a judgment, and there is no bank account in Australia and there's no companies and there's no officials, how are they going to collect on that judgment, right? Like if there's some sort of fine.
There's this wonderful thing called extradition.
Well, yeah, I mean,
where the Aussies are buddies with the Americans, and they'll just ring-a-ding. Hey, President Trump, we need you to extradite this guy down here, and we'll give you a wallaby.
That does complicate it, though. It does complicate it.
And a dingo.
More on the way here. If you want to talk about nexuses, toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And internet freedom, as well, is constantly under threat across the world. Free Talk Live.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I started fighting the IRS over 40 years ago when they tried to seize my mother's house. I sued the IRS and won. I beat the IRS then, and I've been beating them ever since. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I've helped thousands of people deal with tax problems they thought might never be solved. I can help you too. If you owe taxes you can't pay, don't wait another day. There's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com, danpilla.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you AMP Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free, take control of the airwaves, and bring up anything that's on your mind. Our number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Zencash is now Horizon. It's a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized, secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond just currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Plus, Horizon will eventually be enabling you to publish information and in a decentralized manner that will help it be protected from censors and go anywhere on the web with complete privacy. Horizon is bringing privacy to life. You can learn more at horizon.global, HORIZEN.global. So if you've heard us talking about Zencash and all the cool things that's true about that, it's all still Zen, it's still Zen is the currency.
Right.
It's just they're expanding their vision for the future of Horizon. And go to horizon.global.
Expanding the horizon, if you will.
Indeed. So I was looking at Black's Law Dictionary. I've got the 9th edition here just to see what they defined a nexus as. And again, as you pointed out, I think off the air, Chris, laws, of course, can redefine words in the law itself. So in whatever the statutes say, they can have nexus and then completely define that in the way that they want to. That applies only within that section of their code or statutes. So looking at law dictionaries is just something you can generally do. If you're ever looking at laws, you always have to look at the actual code, the actual regulation or whatever, and see if there's a definition section.
Yes.
And then it's so confusing. It's so hard to do this stuff unless you really like reading bureaucratese. Then as you're reading through a statute, you always have to check back to the definitions and see if they're redefining words that you normally use in the English language. They might have completely defined it differently. Like the classic example is the word person. When we think of person, we think of a flesh and blood man or woman or individual that can interact with you in real life.
Yes.
But in the legal world, the word person includes corporations. And that's just a file folder. That's just papers. That's just an idea.
So legally, a person can enter into contracts.
That's correct.
And that means that, if you want to make sure that everybody that's on the board of directors and is a shareholder for your business signs off on everything. You can have that set up in whatever kind of way you want, but don't ever expect your employees to actually get a paycheck because, at some point, one of your shareholders isn't going to sign off on the thing. So therefore, corporation, and then you have one person that acts as the treasurer for the corporation.
As authorized by the board of directors or whatever their structure.
It's even if two states have the same exact law and the same exact definitions, different case law in different states can actually have a different impact in the different states, which is also kind of interesting. And that does happen.
The term nexus, according to Black's Law 9th edition, because we're talking about the Australian government targeting Apple and other phone manufacturers with possible punishment if they don't put backdoors into their encryption software. And of course, they're relying on the idea that these companies have a so-called nexus in the country. Definition here says a nexus is a connection or link. And they don't get into any much more detail than that. So any kind of connection or link, which means, Darryl, you might be correct in your speculation that just simply selling someone a phone, even if they close all their offices,
that's basically how it's defined in the U.S., especially as it relates with the recent, was it South Dakota court ruling about the sales tax?
Well, no, they eliminated a nexus in that case because they don't actually require any more. They basically overrode the entire nexus.
No, it was basically defined as if you send a product into the state, you then have a connection to the state.
Yeah,
there's no longer a physical presence requirement.
The way they did that was by throwing out the old ruling that created the concept of nexus in the first place.
The old ruling was there had to be a physical presence. They said there no longer has to be a physical presence. You just have to have a customer.
It wasn't a physical presence because a contractor could do it, or a bank account in the state could do it, or an office. Well, the office would probably be property, but it's close enough. But yeah,
it's basically you've got a customer, therefore there's a connection, and we've got jurisdiction. Oh, you're on Earth. I've claimed the entire Earth as my jurisdiction, therefore I rule you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if this law goes through, and again, it is just proposed at this point, but if this goes through and these companies are then forced to create a backdoor, I suppose they could create a special Australia-only system, but then why even bother with having encryption? I mean, if you're just going to have a backdoor for the government to be able to get into it, what's the point?
It's actually a more interesting question of even if you did, that would probably be still violating the Australian government's law, because if you can buy an Apple iPhone in America that's different from an Apple iPhone in Australia, and somebody comes from America with their Apple iPhone, well, if Apple's not able to compromise that phone, they're in violation of this law theoretically.
That's interesting, because some phones are international, right? Like you can the phone that I have now. Right. I got right around the time when I was going to Anarchapulco this year, because I wanted to be able to have a phone that worked when I was in Mexico, and so I got the Google Fi, or Google Fi, I'm not sure how they pronounce it, but
I think it's Fi.
It's probably Fi. It's Fi, so like Wi-Fi. So Google Fi, which allows you to use their phone in 130 countries.
Yeah, it's interesting because
I'm sure Australia is one of them.
Yeah, and it's interesting because in most cases, what most of the world uses is. It's not entirely correct, but it's I'm overgeneralizing it right now. But there's something called GSM, right? And CDMA is kind of like what Verizon uses, and some of the bigger providers here in the United States. But most of the world uses GSM. Now, some of the providers in the United States use GSM, but it's not like you don't necessarily have to specifically design an international phone, so to speak. It's generally speaking, most people in most countries, if they travel to Australia, are going to have a phone that works in Australia.
Well, providing it
wasn't even designed.
Providing the phone provider has agreements with whoever the providers are in Australia. If they don't have an agreement to interlock or to interwork,
but that has to do with the cellular provider, not the phone.
Correct. The phone could work because it's GSM, but if the companies don't have an agreement with Telecel or whatever out of Mexico,
but the manufacturer doesn't have to have their agreement. It's only the service provider that has to have the agreement, and you can always stick in a different SIM anyway.
That's what I'm saying. The phone companies, not the manufacturer, but the cell phone companies. They have to have
not the
agreements.
Phone companies, but the cellular providers.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That would be the
cellular
phone
providers
company.
Yeah. Well, he's thinking of phone manufacturer, which is different from the phone company in this case.
99% of Americans, when you say, who's your phone company?
Yeah.
Oh,
Verizon.
AT&T, Verizon.
So, yeah, I'm interpreting phone company to be the company that manufactured, not necessarily, or designed the phone, not necessarily the one that's providing the service.
Right. And most of the time, those are separate companies, but yes.
Yeah. Well,
was there more to the story that you wanted to share?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be worth a little bit more time here. Let's see here. But what if the suspect stores keys themselves? In that case, the government would pull out the big guns with a second kind of order called a technical capability notice. It forces communications providers to build new capabilities that would help the government access a target's information where possible. In short, the government asks companies whether they can access the data. If they can't, then the second order asks them to figure out a way. Here's a flowchart. Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's pretty crazy. But
right, and of course I love how the journalists. This is one of the things that bugs the hell out of me with journalists is they constantly refer to the government as asking. They're not asking. That they can ask right now. Okay, you don't need to have a new statute in order to allow the government to ask. If the government calls you up and asks you a question, they don't need to be authorized by a statute to do that.
Right.
It's called a contact. When the police walk up to you on the street and say, "What's your name?" Well, hold on a moment. That's just a contact. That's just the cop coming up and talking to you, just like anybody else can come up on the street and say, "What's your name?" And, are you obligated to say anything back to that person? No, of course not. Now, that's not legal advice, but that's not legal advice. There are some states where they do have a supposed legal right to have you identify yourself.
Right, based on lawful contact, and that could be as simple as, "How are you today?"
Yeah, New Hampshire's not one of them, fortunately.
Is it not? Maybe if there's like an investigation. I don't know. There's different state laws on that, and you should probably check your...
I've had legal advice, but don't take my word for it. Go get your own legal advice.
All right, there's more coming up here in moments, and we'll talk more about the internet here because China's president is saying that it needs to be clean and righteous. So those conservatives, they got a lot more in common with the Chinese commies than they want to believe. It's Free Talk Live.
America.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
Have you experienced the miracle of CBDs? They can help you reduce suffering, reduce stress, help you sleep better, modulate inflammation in the body, and is absolutely safe. Meta Hemp Solutions offers a radically innovative approach to CBDs for exceptional results. Stop suffering and reduce your stress now. Isn't it time for a good night's sleep? Stop worrying about tomorrow today. Lab tested for potency, purity, and is non-psychoactive. Free shipping to all 50 states. Try our product risk-free, money-back guarantee. Use code GCN15 to get 15% off. That's code GCN15 to get 15% off. Offer ends soon, so visit MetaHemp Solutions today at metahempsolutions.com or call 833-858-7500. Suffer no more. Get rid of the stress and sleep better. Get our product now at metahempsolutions.com. That's metahempsolutions.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agrishosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agris Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agrishosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agrishosting.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free. Bring up whatever's on your mind. On the way here tonight, some of the latest out of Venezuela. Apparently they've canceled Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, because a million bolivar doesn't mean squat there anymore. In fact, if you have 20 million bolivar, it still doesn't mean squat. We'll tell you more about that coming up here in moments. And it's Ian, Chris, and Darryl in the studio tonight. I do want to make sure that you know about the Free Talk Live forum. You can go and get interactive with other Free Talk Live listeners. And more than that, the forum's actually part of the Shire forums. So there's some New Hampshire-related discussions there as well for those of you who are libertarian types considering making a move. In fact, there's a couple of Free Talk Live listeners who came up to Keene today. Actually, they're visiting.
That was
New
fun,
Hampshire.
wasn't it?
Yeah, throughout the weekend they came to our cryptocurrency meetup, and they might be stopping by the studio here in a little bit. But so go to the forum and you can connect with folks there. In fact, they connected on the forum with people before they came up here, saying, "Hey, we're going to be up in late August. We want to come visit Manchester. We want to come see Keene." So it's a great way to kind of let folks know in advance that you're intending to come take a look around New Hampshire and see what it's like here. So go to forum.freetalklive.com. You can connect over there. That's forum.freetalklive.com. And if you're a Free Talk Live amplifier and you send me a message on said forum with your AMP email address, I will upgrade you to AMP status for the forum. That way people who see you on there, they know that you're a Free Talk Live amplifier.
Nice.
So once again, it's forum.freetalklive.com. Talking about the internet, we were talking about forums, in fact, earlier this week on the Tuesday night show, where another problem we have here with internet freedom, we were just discussing Australia cracking down on the internet there. But, and of course, we know that they've got some very oppressive anti-porn legislation that went through years ago in Australia.
Oh, about the like B-size breast or something?
Yeah, that was part of it, I think. And they even had a banned website list that went into effect at the same time. So they've had internet censorship over there for years. Last I heard, I don't think that's been repealed. But again, we don't pay close attention.
Yeah, there's definitely a censorship list as far as websites, like copyright infringing websites go.
In Australia?
Yeah.
So if you want to join us here for the discussion, you're welcome to. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. And, of course, in the United States, you've got people who want to see the internet restricted. I was watching one of the more recent episodes of the Sacha Baron Cohen show on Showtime, which is a great program, by the way. If you enjoyed his previous characters like Borat and Ali G or Bruno, you'll love the new show. He's got at least 5 or 6, I think, now new characters that he's brought on to mess with people's heads. Highly recommend it. It's called Who Is America?
Oh, and you know that the state rep that shouted the N-word and bared his butt, he wound up resigning.
I heard about that, as he should have. There's been some just amazing footage.
Had he waited until the end of his current term, which ends like January 2nd, he would have qualified for pension.
Wow. So
but there was just such backlash. He lost his primary earlier this year, so there was no chance that he was going to get reelected. Georgia.
Okay. It was a state.
State representative on the show. Not Ali G, but Sasha Cohen in character as a Mossad agent.
Not Mossad.
Right. What is purported to be a Mossad agent to these
people. But he
people.
kept saying, when I was not in the Mossad.
For whatever reason, he's saying that. I don't know if that's because the Mossad will kill him if he claims to be in the Mossad or something like that. I don't know what his reason for that is, because he'll say, when I was in the Mossad, I was not in the Mossad. So he'll correct himself within, I don't know what the reason for that is.
But it's to confuse the people. Like, there's the one character
why wouldn't he just lie to them?
Was in the service. I didn't say the armed service. I was in the postal service. So, like, he'll say these things to get people to think something.
But I don't understand why he wouldn't just lie to them. I mean, he's telling lies constantly. The whole thing is a setup based on dishonesty, right, to get these people into these positions in the first place. The whole thing is a scam. So why claim you're not in the Mossad immediately after you've said you're in the Mossad? And he's done it more than once in more than one skit. Anyway, the reason I brought his show up is because he interviewed and I think it was a politician, some political character from, I think it was the state of Utah.
All right.
Please, if you watched it and you remember, you can correct me on this. But this character was actually, not character, but the actual person, the politician character guy. He was actually advocating for internet restrictions against pornography. He was advocating for banning pornography across the board.
Wow.
So good luck with that one.
These people exist in the United States.
Yes.
And, well, you say good luck with that one. Well, hold on. It was during the Bush and Obama administrations, I think it was the late aughts, where they prosecuted pornographers in this country.
Oh, yeah.
I have no doubt that they'll prosecute people, and they'll do it all over the world. The problem is it's pornography. There's so much demand for it.
Oh, right. It's not going to go away.
It ain't going away.
It'll go underground, and then it'll be dangerous, and people will start getting STDs who are filming the pornography, and there'll be snuff films, and it'll be, really horrifying. But yes, pornography will not stop. There's no doubt about that. But that won't stop the government from trying to prohibit and trying to ban and punish people.
What a lot of states, and luckily none of them have actually been successful, but there's some group, and I forget the name of it, but they have this piece of model legislation drafted up that has been introduced in, I think, like 15 or 20 states. And again, luckily it's not passed, but it would require every company that sells computers or devices that can connect to the internet to install what is effectively malware. But if you pay the state government $20, then the malware goes away.
Where is this happening again?
It's been introduced in like 20 states. It's not passed anywhere.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think this is passed anywhere.
It's
I
not
remember
passed.
Reading
Wow.
about this.
But there was actually a state rep that introduced that here in New Hampshire.
Jeez.
Wasn't it like the purpose, like a tax or something, basically? They're just trying to get taxes.
It's a way for the state to collect money by forcing companies to put malware on computers. But if you pay the state government $20, the malware goes away.
That's called ransomware.
Right. They don't really care about,
Ransomware. That's the word I was looking for.
That's what it is.
Their only objective is to get money out of the companies. It has nothing to do with, like, I don't even understand why they don't just tax them.
And then to have a list of everybody that wants to look at naked chicks.
Or whatever.
Yeah, but it doesn't even work as soon as a company opts out and they pay the tax, basically.
No. It's not a company. It's every individual person that wants to access.
Oh.
I want to look at naked girls on the internet.
I thought it was the companies that had to pay.
Then they get on a list.
Oh, I misunderstood the
That's a scary proposal because
we have to have this because we've got to make sure that 14-year-old boys aren't looking at nude girls on the internet.
That's going to happen.
That's the purported rationale.
14-year-old boys are going to have their ways of getting
14-year-old boys are going to find pictures of naked girls.
Yeah, you might make it hard on like the 80-year-old guy who doesn't know how to use the internet, but I wouldn't worry about the teenagers. They're going to find a way around this this stuff. But what about the Chinese teenagers trying to look at pornography? According to Reuters here, Trust.org reporting, the internet must be, quote, clean and righteous, unquote, and vulgar content must be resisted in the field of culture, according to Chinese President Xi Jinping. He told a meeting of senior propaganda officials on Wednesday. The government has been tightening controls over internet content as part of what it says are efforts to, quote, maintain social stability, taking on so-called vulgar and pornographic content, as well as the unauthorized dissemination of news. Because that's a crime in China.
It's funny that I think this actually works. Like, even in China, it doesn't work. And
the internet restrictions?
Yeah, the internet restrictions don't even work in China. So
they work to some extent.
They work to keep the people who are not interested in like breaking these rules, so to speak, from doing it, but it doesn't actually prevent anybody who actually
really
wants to break it.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty common thing in China to get a VPN outside of China.
But they're trying to block those.
They've tried to crack down on it, but it hasn't actually worked.
Well, according to Gene the Christian Anarchist, when he's actually called us from China, because his wife is Chinese and so he goes over there pretty often, he has kind of given us a report, like a sit rep on what the situation is with the internet access.
Has it caused him trouble? Because I know it's like,
and I think TSA George went over there a while back, and he had some problems calling it on Skype one time.
Yeah, but my understanding is it not that it makes it more difficult, but it doesn't make it impossible. And my understanding is that YouTubers are still able to publish through using VPNs from China.
Really?
I know people who call me on Skype, which is also blocked in China. And again, this is all being done through VPNs and other types of software.
I wonder how difficult it is to use the VPN. I mean, how often are they cracking down? How often do the VPNs have to change ports and that
usually
kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is that it tends to be haphazard, and the Chinese government is more doing something along the lines of sometimes you can access some sites, sometimes you can't, and they do that to as more of a psychological thing than actually expecting to be able to block stuff.
We got more coming up here on internet freedom. You can share your thoughts on the radio with us. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus the latest out of Venezuela. Darryl's got an update on that for us as well. Of course, you can take control of the airwaves. Plus good news about magic mushrooms possibly going into some tests, legal tests, coming up here in the United States. It's Free Talk Live.
Let's talk tough. Let's talk comfort. Let's talk about down-home value. Made in the USA blue jeans, like you wore as a kid. Remember?
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch. Guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
For good old-fashioned comfort, get Diamond Gusset jeans. Every stitch guaranteed. And our Defender motorcycle jean comes Kevlar reinforced. See them at GUSSET.com, that's gusset.com, or call 888-848-7738. That's 888-848-7738. Diamond Gusset jeans got it, others don't.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com. The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, August 24th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.67 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,193 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $20, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,524. Antiwar.com reports a day after both the Afghan government and U.S. government declined offers to attend, the Taliban has announced they have accepted Russia's invitation to a multinational peace talks to be held next month in Moscow. The Taliban issued a statement saying it is their intention to send a delegation led by the head of their political office, which is based in Qatar. The U.S. recently held talks with Taliban from that office. The Taliban's acceptance is a significant boost for the talks. Russia has reported inviting 12 nations to the talks, though as yet we don't know which will be attending. Having the Taliban there will give the talks at least some meaning and credibility. The Afghan government has said that they want talks to be one-on-one with the Taliban and no external countries involved. The Taliban, by contrast, had said they believe they need assurances from other countries, particularly the United States, and don't think talks with the Afghan government by itself would be particularly meaningful. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global. UPI reports as California firefighters battled the largest fires in state's history, Verizon slowed wireless data speeds to a crawl, making it almost impossible for emergency personnel to use some of its high-tech tracking equipment. Santa Clara County Fire Chief Anthony Bowden said emergency personnel heavily rely on internet services to monitor fast-moving fires and coordinate resources. The fire department has an unlimited government plan with Verizon, but the company slowed or throttled data speeds once the agency reached a certain threshold, according to Bowden in an August 20th court filing. Bowden said the internet has become an essential tool in providing fire and emergency response, particularly for events like large fires, which require the rapid deployment and organization of thousands of personnel and hundreds of fire engines, aircraft, and bulldozers. Keeping emergency personnel connected requires a lot of data. While battling the Mendocino Complex fire, Bowden said his department's mobile communications center sent and received 5 to 10 gigabytes of data through a wireless router daily. During that time, Verizon reduced speeds that slowed service of the equipment to dial-up speeds. Santa Clara County Fire Captain Bill Murphy told CNN simple tasks like sending an email or updating a Google document were almost impossible. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports a federal judge sentenced former U.S. intelligence contractor Reality Winner on Thursday to more than 5 years in prison after she admitted leaking a top-secret report on Russian interference in U.S. elections to a media outlet. Winner, who has spent already nearly 2 years in jail, pled guilty in June to passing the National Security Agency report to The Intercept in 2016. One of her attorneys, Titus Nichols, said Winner is receiving credit for the time she spent in pretrial confinement. During a hearing in Winner's hometown of Augusta, Georgia, Judge James Hall approved her lawyer's request for a 63-month sentence, followed by 3 years of supervised release, according to Nichols. It was one of the longest sentences ever given to someone for illegally disclosing government information, according to Nichols. Winner's attorneys said in a statement the sentence and accompanying plea agreement both reflect that Reality recognizes that actions have consequences and that she has learned from her mistakes and is prepared to accept the consequences of her actions. Winner admitted to intentionally printing a copy of the intelligence report in her office and mailing it to the news outlet. She was indicted on a single federal count of willful retention and transmission of national defense information, a felony under the Espionage and Censorship Act that carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Betsy Reed, editor-in-chief of The Intercept, said in a statement that Winner should be honored and that her sentencing and other prosecutions of whistleblowers were attacks on freedom of speech and of the press. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Now, a lot of little girls do ballet even though their fathers couldn't care less and don't see what the big deal is. But one talented little prodigy actually choreographed a whole ballet that her father could enjoy and even look forward to. Let's meet Erin Kemper and her father, Jack.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Erin, how did you do that? I thought about all the things that my dad likes to watch and put it into a ballet.
Well, we have a special treat for you today because Erin is now going to perform her new ballet. When I pay the bills, I get to make the rules.
We can't afford that. World War II. I miss your mother too, but we're going to have to do the best without her. Go Redskins!
Bravo! Well done. Boy, I wish you were mine. You know, my two girls are grown up, but you still couldn't pay me to watch one of their a cappella shows. What inspired you to create this amazing ballet?
I'm really inspired by the theme of my dad paying any attention to me at all.
Now, at the end, I hear she just put the game up on the big screen.
I don't know where she gets it.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, it is Free Talk Live. We do a radio show. You can join us on the air, toll free at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Plus, we've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms available to you on our Discord server. You will need the Discord app, which you can get for free at discordapp.com for your Linux, your Mac, your Windows computer, or your smartphone of iOS or Android variety. And then you can connect to those rooms and chat with us on the air.
It's not on Windows Phone?
I don't know. Probably not. It's Ian, Chris, and Darryl in the studio here tonight. We've been talking phones and internet-related stories. On the way, though, we do have some news about Venezuela. And, Darryl, you're going to be sharing that with us coming up. Plus, again, your calls, your thoughts. In fact, we're going to go to the phones here shortly. Again, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Also, we've been talking about China. And, of course, their internet crackdown has been going on for quite a long time. And the Chinese president recently telling his propaganda officials that they need to have more tightened controls over internet content. As part of what they say, they're going to be taking on, or they're going to be making efforts to, quote, maintain social stability and take on so-called vulgar and pornographic content, as well as the unauthorized dissemination of news. And I think that's worth talking about as well.
Yeah.
But first, let's go to the phones, to the fun. Peter is on the line in Minnesota. Peter, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hello?
Hello, you're on the air.
Hi. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing a radio show, so what are you calling about?
I was just wondering, because I'm going to start streaming soon myself, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just curious about, are you guys able to disclose, about how much you guys make, or is that too far?
Are we able to disclose how much we make? You mean,
Yes.
You think we get a paycheck or something for doing this?
You don't?
No. So this is a radio show that is operated by a church, and so there is some revenue that comes in, but that's all from advertising, sales, and then there's some from directly from listeners. Say again?
How much do you get per advertisement?
Well, that depends. It depends on what kind of ads you want to buy.
If you are interested in buying some advertising, you can send an email to mark@freetalklive.com.
Right. What better way to promote a new show?
He can come up with an advertising package for you.
So, Peter, what are you planning on doing? Like a Twitch stream, or what are you going to be streaming?
Yeah, podcast.
A podcast. Okay. Well, podcasts are not generally streamed. They are available after the fact. So podcast is a technical term for...
Yeah, but I will do a live one.
Okay, so you want to do a live internet radio show.
Yeah.
So
H3H3 Productions.
Say again?
H3H3 Productions.
He's just giving the name of...
Is that the name of your company or something?
Is going to be.
My favorite YouTubers. My podcasters.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with who that person is. But so, what are you going to cover on your show? Like, what will be the topics that you want to discuss?
Internet drama and stuff.
Internet drama?
Yeah.
I imagine.
Wait, but what kind of religion is it?
Well, so it's an interfaith peace church. If you go to church.shiresociety.com, you can learn more about it there. And Peter, thanks for your call tonight. So interfaith meaning that there are people of different faiths who are members and ministers in the church, the Shire Free Church. But peace church meaning that ultimately the mission of the church is to foster peace.
Yes.
And so if you are not a peaceful person, then you're not welcome to be a minister in the Shire Free Church. You can go learn more at church.shiresociety.com. Now, freedom of religion, that's also something that the Chinese government has been cracking down on for many decades. And according to the story over at Reuters, the Chinese President Xi Jinping is talking about taking on so-called vulgar and pornographic content on the internet, as well as the unauthorized dissemination of news. Now, here in the United States, where they have the so-called freedom of speech,
yes,
they can't really stop.
And supposed freedom of the press as well.
Correct. And to some extent, it's true. Not really, because if you're like a journalist and you're trying to protect a source, we've seen journalists go to prison for doing that kind of thing. So it's certainly not a truly free press place, but it's certainly more so than China.
Yes.
In the United States, if you put out a fake story, well, nowadays there's this sort of fake news concept that's been bandied about in a variety of different channels, and ultimately people are trying to identify what news is real versus what is fake. And that's a much more healthy environment. I'm sorry, even though the fake news exists, even though it does fool people sometimes, it's still better to have the choice, the ability to try to discern what is fake and what is true, as opposed to having the government decide what news you can access to begin with. That is oppression, that is tyranny, and that's what they have there in China. The move comes amid a broader clampdown targeting online content from live streams and blogs to mobile gaming, as the country's so-called leaders look to tighten their grip over a huge and diverse cultural scene online popular with China's youth.
China ranked number 176 by Reporters Without Borders
for freedom of the press.
Freedom. The United States,
not great,
ranked number 45.
Yeah, that's what I.
So
which
a
year?
lot better.
Which year was that?
Those are the rankings that came out earlier this year.
Okay.
Norway, Sweden, Netherlands, Finland, and Switzerland, top 5.
Speaking at a 2-day meeting attended by officials from major state media outlets and the internet regulator, Xi said propaganda efforts needed to be put front and center. The official Xinhua news agency said, I'm sure I'm butchering these pronunciations, the report cited Xi as saying, quote, uphold a clean and righteous internet space. Now, doesn't that sound like something you'd hear from, I don't know, the right-wing conservatives?
Trump, Pence.
Pretty much everybody.
Mitch McConnell.
In the government?
Yeah.
But certainly the right-wingers, they've wanted to go after pornography on the internet for a long time, and they sound like communists, right? Because that's what the communists want in China, is a clean internet. China shut down as many as 128,000 websites that contained so-called obscene and other harmful, in quotes, information in 2017. Like information talking about, I don't know, anarchy or liberty or, peace or things like that.
Tibetan independence.
Yeah, they don't like people talking about that either. That's for damn sure. China's media regulator has been cracking down on video spoofs. So parodies. Jokes. The best part of the internet.
Yeah.
Right? There's so much funny stuff on the internet. They're cracking down on that.
I think China just doesn't want people to be happy.
Right? Apparently not. Part of this intensified crackdown on any content that is deemed to be in violation of socialist core values under President Xi. Despite strict censorship, China has a fairly lively online community of bloggers who frequently respond to breaking events with humorous and sometimes risque sketches and short videos, although they often face their posts being taken down. Xi told the meeting that those who work in culture and the arts had to express quality and responsibility and respect to the law, he said. Quote, reject the vulgar, the base, and the kitsch. Put forward more healthy, high-quality internet works of culture and art. So the government in China is going to determine and is determining what is high culture and what is the lowest common denominator. What is the stuff that is the base comedy, the fart humor, or, whatever, right? Like I said, some of the funniest parts of the internet here, they do not want in China. The government has also stepped up the already tight controls over the internet since Xi took power 6 years ago in what critics say is an effort to restrict freedom of speech and prevent criticism of the ruling Communist Party. The government says all countries regulate the internet, and its rules are aimed at ensuring national security and social stability. Because I guess laughing at a fart joke is going to make everything unstable.
Well, that's going to bring about the downfall of civilization, Ian.
preventing the spread of pornography and violent content, they claim. China maintains a strict censorship regime, banning access to many foreign news outlets, search engines, and social media, including Google and Facebook. And in fact, did you have news about Google? One of you guys have news about Google? And
I do.
China?
Yeah, apparently there's a secret project, codenamed Dragonfly, that would be a Chinese government-approved version of the Google search engine.
So Google, after being banned by China, has been trying to get back into their good graces.
Yes.
Right? We'll tell you more about what's going on with this.
They supposedly quit China.
Well, we'll get into what's going on with Project Dragonfly. We'll also take your calls and thoughts. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. You can join us on the radio here on Free Talk Live.
On August 24th, 1992, 20 eager Cardozo law students filed into a small room to kick off the first day of Barry Scheck and Peter Newfield's Innocence Project clinic. After years as public defenders in New York City, Barry and Peter started the clinic to review cases of people in prison who could prove their innocence using DNA testing. What they thought was a few hundred cases turned out to be thousands, and a clear sign that the system needed repair. At the time, no one imagined that Barry's and Peter's vision would evolve into a national organization with the power to reform the criminal justice system 26 years later. Since that August day in 1992, there are now 565 Cardozo Law School clinic students trained, and the Innocence Project has celebrated 208 exonerations. They've also worked together to pass over 150 laws in the U.S. to help prevent wrongful convictions. You can support the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. We continue to take your calls, thoughts about whatever you want. We're talking about internet freedom, not just in the United States, but
lack thereof,
but around the world. And just because things are really bad in China doesn't mean that those things can't happen here. So it is useful to learn lessons from what goes on elsewhere on the planet. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Chris.
And Darryl.
Freedom's Phoenix is a liberty-oriented news aggregation site, and I suspect it's on the list of banned websites in China. Do you want the newest and freshest stories and perspectives on current events from those who value liberty? Well, freedomsphoenix.com has it. Their daily dispatch is the best way to stay up to date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. It's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. That's freedomsphoenix.com. As we continue here, don't forget you can join us in the Discord chat over at discord.lrn.fm, where Gene the Christian Anarchist, who I referenced on the air in the last segment, as somebody who goes to China regularly and kind of does a freedom test, if you will, on the internet there to see exactly how bad it is. He says that they will shut down VPN, so it will work for a while.
Yep.
And then you got to find another VPN after they target them and shut them down. Let's go to Colin calling from Shrewsbury, Pennsylvania, watching us on our Twitch feed at twitch.lrn.fm. Go ahead, Colin.
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Hey.
You got it wrong. It's Cullen James.
Cullen.
But yeah.
All right.
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Good, you're on the air.
Ian, Ian, I want to thank you or Mark, whichever one of you, who did not side with YouTube when they filed a copyright strike against me for airing Free Talk Live on my online radio network.
Wait, what happened?
I was airing Free Talk Live on the online radio network that I'm building, and YouTube, I guess, with their copyright matcher software, knew I was doing it. So I guess they contacted you guys and told you guys, but they said you guys told YouTube that it was okay that I keep it on the network.
Huh. Well, I certainly would say it was okay if I were ever contacted, but I was never contacted by YouTube.
It must have been Mark then. But
I can't imagine why they would even run us through that. I don't think we've ever labeled ourselves as copyrighted ever, so I don't know why we would be in their little system.
Do you guys have it set to Creative Commons?
Yeah, I think by default we do, but
I remember last time we talked about this, we were going to take a look at the end of the show, and I don't think we did.
I don't think we did either, but well, there you go, Colin. So yeah, we don't, at least the official position of the show, even though Mark has recently shown hypocritical colors in this particular area, because he himself used a YouTube takedown on a video he didn't like, which I then went and undid. Because I don't want Free Talk Live associated with the enforcement of copyright.
Were you actually successful on that?
Yes, I was actually.
No way.
I was really surprised that a couple days later they actually restored the so-called offensive video. So, Colin, glad that we could help you there, even though I didn't have anything to do with it. I would love to take credit for that, but I didn't. Anything else you want to share?
Well. Yeah, well, YouTube. I've been at it with them and other things because I actually own the rights to play copyrighted music on the network.
Oh wow!
And even that, but even that they're giving me crap about. They're
right, because you can't get them to approve that in advance. They're just going to bug you every single time you play a copyrighted song, right?
Yeah, exactly, and this is the kind of regulation and law that keeps down the small American entrepreneur. And these trade wars are definitely not the answer. It's getting rid of all these ridiculous regulations.
Now,
but
are you broadcasting in another platform besides YouTube?
Yes. So if you go to bullionmedia.net, bullion like gold, and click listen at the top right hand corner, you can hear the official stream. And then if you go on to twitch.tv, if you keyword search Bullion Media, all one word, or
so you're using Free Talk Live. You're airing our content on your stream.
Yeah, from 7 to 10.
Can you do me a
Yep.
favor and shoot me an email with the link to your website, and then when I get a chance, I'll go ahead and add it to our internet affiliates list, and that way you'll get at least another link on our site. And Colin, I want to thank you for your call and your service there. I appreciate it. The toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. I actually had a call this week from, I think it's B103. I'll have to pull it up. There's a guy who's putting together an internet stream in Atlanta, Georgia, and like he's really serious about it and had a lot of questions for how to automate things and make everything work. And he's using a lot of content from LRN.FM, and it sounds like it's going to be kind of like an urban-focused, station there in Hotlanta.
Nice.
So very cool stuff. And he sent me an email recently, so I'll be adding him to the site.
This whole conversation is why you need to decentralize. Set up your own site. Set up your own streams.
You're talking about with YouTube?
Yeah, without going through YouTube, I'm saying.
Now, you've done this recently.
I've done it, yeah, with Freedom Decrypted.
This is your television show.
Totally decentralized.
Freedom Decrypted is your video show that you're doing once a week from your studio.
Yes.
That you built specially for a video purposes. Like
it's a video.
We kind of
TV studio.
Threw some cameras into a radio studio here. You made a studio for television purposes.
Yeah.
And you've been doing that for a few months now, right? Since
a couple
June,
months,
basically.
Almost every Saturday from 5 to 7 at freedomdecrypted.com.
Unless you're out of town.
Unless I've been out of town, and I think we've missed. And unfortunately, this is like the busy season for conferences, so it tends to be. And we're doing it on Saturday, so it tends to be. But so I've missed like probably 3 shows so far in the last 2 months.
Tell me what it is. What are you paying? What does it cost to actually do your own video streaming?
Almost nothing.
Really?
I mean, obviously we don't have that many viewers.
You pay per viewer per.
Well, no. I mean, so what
it is right because you're paying for a certain amount of bandwidth, right?
I mean, yeah, theoretically, except that when you don't have that many people watching the stream, it's not going to cost you very much.
So are you using an existing service like Ustream, or you created your own?
All I did was I spun up a VPN, or not VPN, a VPS, virtual private server.
Yep.
Okay, $10 a month. $20 a month, maybe, depending on how much bandwidth you need.
Okay.
Right now, it's probably like $10 a month, I suspect. And then you just install a piece of program, very small program, and you configure it to relay the stream, and then you connect to that from your, wherever your studio is that you set up, and then what you do is you install basically like if you do WordPress, you can then install a little
plugin,
like a little plugin, yeah, basically, and that's basically it. I mean, it probably took me, it took me several hours worth of work, at least minimally, maybe even more than that. All things considered. After
and you're technically inclined, so if somebody was just trying to do this thing on their own, and they're like, I kind of know how WordPress works,
so it wasn't that hard
for you.
It wasn't even that hard, probably for somebody who's somewhat technical.
You'd have to know some Linux, though, right?
Linux wasn't the hard part.
No, for you. Know Linux, right?
No, Linux wasn't the hard. Linux isn't really the hard part because it's literally just a matter of like if you're on a Windows system, installing PuTTY and connecting to, and you probably do it. Anybody who's doing web development, any kind of web development, publishing any kind of website is going to have enough experience with Linux to do this. It's not like there was much Linux experience in it. What was more?
I think you're overestimating how technically inclined a lot of people are that run.
I have a website.
Most people who have a website have a panel, right?
My business is selling like Linux to grandmas. It's not it's really not that terribly hard. I mean, I get it. Like you do have to have some technical experience to set up a studio, period.
Right.
But I'm not at all experienced with any kind of audio stuff, so if I was able to do it,
the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. You can bring up whatever you want on Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is Fred.
Hi, I'm Fred.
Fred's a repeater.
I tend to repeat.
Fred has a business.
I do have a business.
And a problem. Fred repeats the same tired advertising over and over, and now it doesn't work.
Over and over.
But Fred is about to see a vision.
I'm seeing a vision.
Advertising on the Genesis Communications Network is the smart way for Fred to reach his potential customers with the most affordable national advertising rates, period. Get started today with GCN, the Genesis Communications Network. Just email advertise@gcnlive.com.
Calling it the most effective means to reaching one's full earning potential. A new report issued by the Employee Benefit Research Institute this week found that violently slamming one's supervisor against a wall and shouting, "Cash, I need more cash," is still the leading tactic for securing a raise amongst American workers.
We found that employees have the most success negotiating their salaries when they stride confidently into their supervisor's office, manhandle them like a rag doll, and demand more money right now.
Experts confirmed that the majority of employees who managed to increase their salaries maintained direct eye contact with their supervisors while reiterating that they were not f***ing around, emphasizing their position with phrases such as, "Give me the money now," and "I said more cash, old man." The Onion sat down with Kevin Simmons, who recently applied these methods in negotiating a competitive bump in his annual salary.
So the other day I walked right into his office, grabbed his throat with my hand, and told him straight up, "Start paying me more f***ing money today." And I grabbed $100 out of his wallet and told him that was a good start.
This is the Onion News Network.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free. Take control of the airwaves and bring up whatever you want to discuss. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Chris.
And Darryl.
Don't forget, you can join us online. Just head over to freetalklive.com. Enjoy the features we have for you there. Also, check out liberty.menu. If you are an individual who rejects the initiation of force and agrees to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle, then you qualify to use liberty.menu. Just head on over there and put up whatever it is that you do. Maybe it's a business. Maybe you are an event coordinator. Maybe you create digital content like a video show, for instance. You can put it there because if you're a liberty-minded person, you qualify to use liberty.menu. It's essentially a libertarian, voluntarist, anarchist business directory.
And freedomdecrypted.com is there too.
It is there? Excellent.
It is, yes.
So liberty.menu, and it's free to use. So really, unless you don't want some free exposure, then you shouldn't do it. If you want free exposure, then head on over to liberty.menu, and libertarians will find out about you, whereas they may not have known about you before, and they might become your customers. Liberty.menu. As we go to your calls, your thoughts, we have David in Detroit, Michigan, listening online. Go ahead, David.
Hey, smokers. So I was listening to a debate between, it was actually Stefan Molyneux and Adam Kokesh, and the topic they had was, it was actually borders.
Borders, okay.
Yeah, so in this debate they had, Stefan, who, both Stefan and Adam are, ostensibly pretty big figures in the liberty movement, and Stefan kept on bringing up how many people would consider paying in to basically buy land on the borders of the United States and Mexico to build their own private wall. Do you guys actually think that would be an effective measure to control borders? Or
no.
do you think Go ahead.
Well, hold on. If somebody wants to build their own private wall, then they can hire people to guard their private wall.
But he's not asking, can they do it? He's asking, is it effective? And
hold on. Are you asking, is it effective to keep somebody out of private property, or are you asking, would a wall be effective along the entire southern border?
Well, I just don't understand why he's so obsessed with, Stefan, is so obsessed with controlling the U.S.-Mexican border.
I don't know either. I don't know what happened to Stefan Molyneux. We used to actually have him on as a guest here on Free Talk Live. We've met him in person. He used to come down to the Porcupine Freedom Festival, bring his family down there. We've had him sitting in on our show a number of times over the years. And I don't know if it was just before Trump or how long before Trump, he started to go down.
A couple of years before.
He started to go down this, fascist hole or womanizing.
Well, he started off on the MRA thing, the men's rights thing. Of, all women are horrible and everything's the fault of single mothers.
Yeah. So he's been blaming women for all kinds of things, and then when Trump happened, he kind of went real statist and fascist. Yeah. For listeners who aren't familiar, Stefan Molyneux was at one time one of the most noteworthy libertarian philosopher types on the internet. He had a very popular podcast. I suspect it still is. He also had a very popular YouTube channel, which I also suspect it still is. But like Christopher Cantwell, who's a former host on this show, they both made a hard turn to the right and basically have gone fascist and very, very scary pro-state. And I don't know how to explain it. I'm sure you could ask him to explain it. Maybe he's done a podcast or a video on explaining why he used to believe in no state and now why he's supporting Donald Trump and a border and border wall and all this crap. I mean, it seems crazy to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he once, like you guys said, he had some very good philosophy out there. He still does. It's just flawed big time now. So,
David, I appreciate your call tonight. I'm going to let you go. Your phone is just not that great. It's kind of hard to understand you, but I do appreciate hearing from you tonight. Calling about Stefan Molyneux, who, he had a great sense of humor. He was really, sharp and smart and good on the air, and now he's dedicated to Trumpism or whatever. He was singing the national anthem from the United States during the Trump election or whatever, or on the run-up to the election.
That's Canadian.
And it didn't seem to be tongue-in-cheek. It didn't seem to be like he was joking or whatever. It seemed like he was serious, which is what you're pointing out here. You said he's Canadian, which is why the caller's confused. Why is he so concerned with the U.S.-Mexican border as a Canadian?
Something, my culture.
It's pandering, isn't it? I mean, his listeners are by and large United States, I would imagine,
right.
And he wants to attract the kind of listener now, for whatever reason, that is in agreement with him, that loves to hear about cracking down on a border.
It all comes down to some kind of preservation of culture, and if we let these people that aren't 100% like us come in here, then it's white genocide or something.
I wonder if what's going on is there's money. People are seeing the money in it, and they're realizing that they can cater to a larger audience or a different audience that's larger. Maybe.
But he was doing fine, it seemed like.
Yeah,
I mean,
but being fine and being huge are,
I don't know if he's that much bigger now than he was before.
No?
I mean, I don't know what his stats are, but I mean, you could probably pull up his website and look at Alexa and see if there's been any significant change. Although that's not scientific, it's at least something. It's a data point that you can at least look at. But he was doing very well. I mean, before he became the sort of right-wing Stefan Molyneux, he was accused of being a cult leader, Stefan Molyneux. And maybe he's now a cult leader, right-wing Stefan Molyneux. I don't know. But when he was accused of being a cult leader, there were allegations coming out talking about his inner circle, because cults have that.
Yep.
Where, the charismatic leader has their inner circle of followers who will be devoted to his every word and pay to have access to the inner circle. So he had fans who were paying for, I would imagine a significant amount, because it's one thing to be the Free Talk Live AMP program for $5 a month. That's not really the inner circle or whatever.
Does that get you access again?
There is no inner circle with Free Talk Live. I mean, unless you want to consider the hosts of the show the inner circle. I mean, there's no inner circle. There's no charismatic leader. Nobody's going to accuse me of having any charisma or being a particularly good leader. So, he seemed to be doing fine. He sold books. He had people subscribing to his website, getting special access to various different things. So it didn't seem like he was hurting for money. In fact, he was able to quit his job, right? So if you can quit your day job by doing a podcast, you're doing pretty all right on your podcast. Statement. But I mean, it's definitely true that people like Chris Cantwell will go where they perceive the money is.
Right.
And I know Chris has told me that, the more people hate him, the more money he makes.
Yeah.
I don't know if Stefan Molyneux has the same philosophy, but maybe he does. So anyway, that's my latest opinion on Molyneux. I think it's sad. I think it's really sad whenever a good libertarian goes bad, because we who are into the ideas of liberty, we believe in them so firmly. It's always a shock to the system when somebody else who we believed was also on board turns 180 degrees and goes back to statism.
Yeah, I like to see people with track record, with the track record, rather than just somebody who comes out and says, "Oh, I'm a libertarian."
When you say track record, what do you mean? I mean, Molyneux had hundreds and hundreds of episodes of a track record.
That doesn't mean anything to me. I want to hear somebody who was a libertarian before they knew they were a libertarian. And
a libertarian before they knew they were
before they realized they were a libertarian. Yeah, I mean, going back to, their youth even, ideally.
So you don't think a conversion later in life is legitimate?
I think people who
have
are
to be a
easily changed are not going to be as committed.
What would make you think that somebody who is more recently changed is easily changed?
Talk to Chris Riedman.
I mean, again, I don't necessarily know if Chris Riedman is, I don't know how committed he is either.
Committed? I mean,
committed might not be the right choice of words, but I don't know. I'm not saying that
Chris sits on the show as often as you do.
Yeah.
Chris is
it's
an activist. He's gone out and done protests.
Yeah,
he stood out in front of the military recruiting center.
I'm not putting Chris down. I think Chris is great.
What's the litmus test here? Is it how long somebody's been involved, or
no? It's not. It has nothing to do with involvement.
Does it go back?
It's a philosophy. Have you always had that philosophy, or is this something you've kind of been convinced about more recently?
Is being anti-authority a philosophy? Because I've always been anti-authority. But
libertarianism is much more than just, I don't like the people in charge right now.
There's more coming up here in moments. I don't know if I agree with you at all on this, Chris. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses on the setup page, and then load the app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. AnyPay.global. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They are working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Their coin and ticker symbol remain ZEN. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global.
Are you afraid to go to the mailbox because of letter after letter from the IRS? Are they stacking on more and more penalties and interest? By now, you know the problem won't go away on its own. Don't let the IRS chase you to your grave with penalties and interest and liens and levies. You need real help now. I'm Dan Pilla. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I help thousands of people solve tax problems they thought couldn't be solved. I can help you too. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. danpilla.com.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love, and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way,
love as your guide,
and liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free. Take control of the airwaves and bring up anything that's on your mind. Our number here, 855-450-FREE. We're talking about conversions, the idea of becoming a libertarian. How difficult is it to leave the ideas of liberty? We see it happen, and it happens more often than I would like to see,
yes.
Especially when it happens to visible people. It's even more, of course, frustrating. I mean, if it's just somebody who quietly goes from being a libertarian to a statist, then that's not the end of the world. But when somebody like Stefan Molyneux leaves his philosophy, which he was a very loud advocate for and a very visible advocate for, and then makes a switch to basically, and I don't want to put words in the guy's mouth. Honestly, I haven't listened to a whole lot of what he says in recent years, but it seemed like he went in kind of a fascist right-wing direction.
Sounds about right.
Wants to build a border wall, supports Trump, and has completely left the ideas of liberty. So, Chris Wade, you're with us here from thinkpenguin.com, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but But what I understood you saying earlier was like that you were suggesting that somebody would be more likely to be a solid libertarian, not likely to switch to anything else if they've always sort of felt that way, versus somebody who was, let's say, persuaded by, say, Stefan Molyneux persuaded them.
Yeah.
And then Molyneux flips. You're saying maybe that persuaded person might also flip? Maybe be weaker on that? In your mind?
Yeah, something along those lines I think would probably be a fair statement.
Because there's plenty of people who followed Molyneux who are upset at him, right? And who have not flipped back.
True. Right. But we're not talking about the people following him. We're talking about, well, I mean, I don't even know if we're talking about him because...
So, hold on. Let me give another example.
I don't know. Maybe he has always had that philosophy, so to speak, even before he could really define it.
Let me give another example. Yeah. And... Ian, I know that you were around in like the early Ron Paul days, like 07, 08.
And I'm speculating here, guys. So like, don't know,
So hold on. Let me finish here. You were in like liberty circles back then.
I've been a libertarian activist since the late 90s.
Right.
You got a track record.
I do.
During the 08 Ron Paul campaign, there were a bunch of people, not necessarily libertarians, that for some reason they decided that they really liked Ron Paul and they got involved in, like the broader liberty movement.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the 2012 campaign, there were even more people that came in, and a lot of those people, again, not necessarily libertarians, but they liked Ron Paul. And so by virtue of that, other people said, oh, well, they like Ron Paul, so therefore they're in this liberty community thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's a lot of those people that have seemed to have taken that hard right turn.
Mm-hmm.
But there are also a lot of people that have stayed as libertarians.
Okay. So are you saying, though, so you're agreeing with Chris that if somebody's brought in by another man persuading them that they're weaker?
No. I'm saying that there are people that aren't necessarily, they would not define themselves as libertarians in the first place, but they were accepted into the liberty community by virtue of, we like this same politician guy that talks about liberty. And then they sort of,
but we're not really talking about those people, right? Like, we're talking about people who have been clear libertarians. Like, I'll give you another example. There was a guy who moved in across the street from the studio here. There's a house across the street that's
the guy that's suing Alex Jones.
Right. That's one of the guys.
Yes.
So he lived across the street. He was known as a gay anarchist. So he's a gay man. His name's Marcel. And he seemed really liberty friendly. Like, he had a bunch of books. He was well read. He, had a bunch of libertarian, books and knew what he was talking about. He wasn't the best at speaking, but that was because he had a speech impediment and had nothing to do with his ideas. So when I talked to him, he seemed to really have it down and seemed to really be a principled libertarian. And then he got a communist boyfriend from Massachusetts, and the dude went total commie. He started wearing a beret, walking around downtown Keene, New Hampshire, and completely left the libertarian community.
Could you see yourself doing that?
Well, no, of course not.
I couldn't see myself doing that either.
But I don't ever necessarily...
But I don't think he would have said, oh, yeah, I can see myself becoming a commie.
Not when he was a libertarian.
Before he became a commie.
Right. And then you've got Amanda Bolden, who came here. She was a Free State Project mover.
Yep.
So migrant here to New Hampshire, as we were.
Yep.
She got elected as a Democrat, which is fine, right? Like, we've had libertarians run as Republicans and Democrats in New Hampshire, and they've gotten elected. She described herself as an anarchist.
At one time.
When she moved up here.
Yep.
She has been on our show multiple times, like Molyneux, multiple times, talking about her voluntarist charity that she created to help feed people during the Thanksgiving season. And she explained why voluntarism works and, voluntary charity and is better than government. And she got it. It wasn't like she was masquerading, in my opinion, at least. Yeah. She came to Keene, actually, when we did an illegal flea market in downtown Keene. She came with her daughter, and they wanted to set up an ice cream thing without permission from the government. I mean, so she did some civil disobedience.
Confidence, I think, might be a better choice of words. I'd have more confidence in somebody who has a longer track record than somebody who's come to the philosophy.
Well, I don't know how long her track record was before she moved to New Hampshire, but she was here several years as a so-called anarchist before ultimately flipping and turning against the Libertarians.
I mean, several years doesn't seem to be a long time in my book. And again, obviously, depending on how old you are, that might be a long time. But, for somebody in their 20s or 30s, it doesn't seem to me to be like that long of a time.
Hold on. So somebody in their 20s, most people don't even start thinking about politics until they're...
But it's not about politics. It's about philosophy. It's about not
politics
hurting...
is how you apply it. You can apply the philosophy to politics.
Okay, that's fair. But I think it's more about not hurting other people. Or
most people agree with that.
Most people agree with that, but they're not going to think about libertarianism because they view that as politics. And I don't like politics because politics are dirty.
I want to go to the calls here. We got Will on the line in Portland. He's listening to WLOB. Hello, Will.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, you're on the air.
I just wanted to support the previous host. I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but to compare your sense of like being a libertarian sort of from conversion to the values, compare that to like learning a language where from birth, if you have fluency in a language, you didn't ask for that. You can study another language, but you can never really compare that acquired skill to something you've had from a fluency. So I think it's so important to always be learning and talking and expressing yourself and finding meaning and understanding with views you don't agree with, but to understand that someone can grow up with a certain set of philosophical viewpoints before they even have the words to describe that does matter. And there's other examples that are more tangible we can point to. So that's all. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Hey, thanks, Will, for your call. Very succinct. I appreciate that. So backing you up, Chris, saying that somebody who's always felt a certain way is more likely to stick with that feeling, which in this case would be, let's call it anti-authoritarianism, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not liking how it's being framed, but sure, something along those lines.
One of the problems, and I don't know. I don't necessarily like the term anti-authoritarian.
Well, it's good to define yourself as things you're in favor of rather than against.
Right, but that just
But when you're a kid, that's what you are against, right? Like if you're a kid and some adult is telling you what to do, you're against the authority, right? You're in favor of freedom, but you don't really know it that way, right?
Sure,
because you don't really know what freedom is. You're on the playground, you can't leave the fenced area or whatever. You are in their pen. You're in their world. They've set up the rules. You have to follow some of them. And
you know what's funny is you're saying, you can't understand it. And I don't know, man. I was a pretty... as a 9-10-year-old man, I understood it. I would say I got it, and I didn't feel like it was like there was something morally wrong about how things were, and that control mechanism and all that. I don't know. I'm sure that most 9-10-year-olds aren't like that, but again, I'm not your typical 9 or 10-year-old either. So
and I'm also wondering if you're projecting your current thoughts on 9-year-old you.
Give us an example. I mean, were you at a government school? Were you wanting to escape from the school?
I did go to a government school.
Did you want to escape? Did you want to break free from that location? To get out, to run, to go walk about the city on your own volition?
Sure. But I mean, I'm not sure if that's any different than
I didn't want to break out of the school, but that's because I enjoyed learning.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed learning too, but not necessarily in a government school. And I just think that the way
when you're a child, you don't know the difference. Okay, so like when you're in, at least I think the common experience, and maybe this wasn't your common experience.
Here's an even better example. When I was 4, I thought it was wrong for somebody to tell me what to do unless they're going to explain it to me why I should do it.
Okay, so that would be anti-authoritarian in that particular case. You don't want to be told what to do unless there's a reason.
I always wanted to know the reason. Why is this the rule? Yeah. I wanted to know the reason behind the rule, but I never would have considered myself as, a 5-year-old anti-authority.
There's more on the way here. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. We got a full hour to go. You can join us on the radio. It's Free Talk Live.
If you owe any money to the IRS, you need to call *1234. That's *1234. Uncle Sam has the power to make your life miserable. You could stop the IRS collections process right now by calling **1234. When you call the Tax Defense Center, you'll get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate your back taxes, including penalties and interest. **1234. **1234 could save you thousands on your back taxes. You could also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you have entered into a payment plan and can't make the payments. It's your hard-earned money. Stop Uncle Sam right now. Make the call that could help you end the worry today. **1234. That's **1234. **1234. **1234.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, August 24th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.67 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,193 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $20, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,524. Antiwar.com reports a day after both the Afghan government and U.S. government declined offers to attend, the Taliban has announced they have accepted Russia's invitation to a multinational peace talks to be held next month in Moscow. The Taliban issued a statement saying it is their intention to send a delegation led by the head of their political office, which is based in Qatar. The U.S. recently held talks with Taliban from that office. The Taliban's acceptance is a significant boost for the talks. Russia has reported inviting 12 nations to the talks, though as yet, we don't know which will be attending. Having the Taliban there will give the talks at least some meaning and credibility. The Afghan government has said that they want talks to be one-on-one with the Taliban and no external countries involved. The Taliban, by contrast, had said they believe they need assurances from other countries, particularly the United States, and don't think talks with the Afghan government by itself would be particularly meaningful. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global. UPI reports as California firefighters battled the largest fires in state's history, Verizon slowed wireless data speeds to a crawl, making it almost impossible for emergency personnel to use some of its high-tech tracking equipment. Santa Clara County Fire Chief Anthony Bowden said emergency personnel heavily rely on internet services to monitor fast-moving fires and coordinate resources. The fire department has an unlimited government plan with Verizon, but the company slowed or throttled data speeds once the agency reached a certain threshold, according to Bowden in an August 20th court filing. Bowden said the internet has become an essential tool in providing fire and emergency response, particularly for events like large fires, which require the rapid deployment and organization of thousands of personnel and hundreds of fire engines, aircraft, and bulldozers. Keeping emergency personnel connected requires a lot of data. While battling the Mendocino Complex fire, Bowden said his department's mobile communications center sent and received 5 to 10 gigabytes of data through a wireless router daily. During that time, Verizon reduced speeds that slowed download service of the equipment to dial up speeds. Santa Clara County Fire Captain Bill Murphy told CNN simple tasks like sending an email or updating a Google document were almost impossible. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports a federal judge sentenced former U.S. intelligence contractor Reality Winner on Thursday to more than 5 years in prison after she admitted leaking a top-secret report on Russian interference in U.S. elections to a media outlet. Winner, who has spent already nearly 2 years in jail, pled guilty in June to passing the National Security Agency report to The Intercept in 2016. One of her attorneys, Titus Nichols, said Winner is receiving credit for the time she spent in pretrial confinement. During a hearing in Winner's hometown of Augusta, Georgia, Judge James Hall approved her lawyer's request for a 63-month sentence, followed by 3 years of supervised release, according to Nichols. It was one of the longest sentences ever given to someone for illegally disclosing government information, according to Nichols. Winner's attorneys said in a statement the sentence and accompanying plea agreement both reflect that Reality recognizes that actions have consequences and that she has learned from her mistakes and is prepared to accept the consequences of her actions. Winner admitted to intentionally printing a copy of the intelligence report in her office and mailing it to the news outlet. She was indicted on a single federal count of willful retention and transmission of national defense information, a felony under the Espionage and Censorship Act that carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Betsy Reed, editor-in-chief of The Intercept, said in a statement that Winner should be honored and that her sentencing and other prosecutions of whistleblowers were attacks on freedom of speech and of the press. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
An update now on a legal battle emerging around the Onion News Network's own Jode Kressbeckler. After the shocking story yesterday that a group of assailants attacked Congressman William Cummings, tied him to a horse, and dragged him through a briar patch, some are now saying these statements from Mr. Kressbeckler last week may have incited the attack.
Bootlegging Congressman Cummings ought to be tied to a horse and drugged through a briar patch.
Mr. Kressbeckler's show is billed as an opinion and entertainment program.
Yes,
and he even calls himself nothing but a caterwauling old badger, so the claim that he would incite people to violence seems pretty far-fetched.
He displayed a map of Congressman Cummings' home in relation to the nearest briar patch, told his viewers where to purchase a, quote, good pulling horse, and used a life-size dummy of Congressman Cummings to demonstrate effective knot-tying techniques.
Right. I think most reasonable people would see that as simply a ribald political satire.
Right.
Briar patch is obviously a metaphor for the prickly political atmosphere in Washington, and drag from a horse means something else.
Makes sense to me.
This is the Onion News Network.
It is Free Talk Live, and we're launching into the third hour of the program. As always, you're invited to join us here if you want to take control of the airwaves. You can do that. We've been talking about internet censorship, which led into a discussion about libertarians flipping and being not libertarian anymore. With you in the studio tonight is Ian.
And Chris.
And Darryl.
Plus, we can still talk about Venezuela. Also, magic mushrooms. There's some good news on the medical front there. But first, to the phones and to your calls and thoughts. We go to Dodger. He's on the line in Michigan, listening online. Go ahead, Dodger.
Yes. Now, I just kind of wanted to weigh in a little bit on what you guys were talking about last hour, if you guys wanted to recap about libertarians flipping. Specifically, I kind of wanted to address something that Chris was saying, that he's a little skeptical of people that I guess weren't libertarians to begin with. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, Chris, but
yeah,
it's kind of what I caught. Now me, I can tell you that my realization of libertarianism, it came, let's just say in 2008. I'm in my mid-30s. In 2008, I was a hardcore supporter of Obama, and I say that kind of cringing because in hindsight, see, what I always cared about was I guess, the social side of things. I just didn't realize that you can't have social freedom without economic freedom.
Right.
And so I didn't realize that until actually I used to be like a hardcore troll for all of these right-wing shows, and I thought I was listening to a right-wing show one night, and come to find out it was a delayed broadcast of Free Talk Live that actually aired in my area for a while. And I started listening.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, it started out. There was a guy, Neil Bortz, who was on for a while, where he's libertarian-ish. But he said something one morning, because his show, and he was in the mornings, that made sense to me. He said, why the hell do I care what my neighbor's doing, as long as it's not hurting me? And that just kind of resonated with me. And then, I heard Free Talk Live, and it's like, wow, these ideas I always agreed with, because even though I was a hardcore, what I thought was a hardcore leftist, I always still believed in, like, gun freedom and, all of that stuff. It's like, well, am I really a liberal or not?
But isn't that more of a realization of what you are rather than a switch?
Yeah, and I think that's probably really what it was, and then, I start hearing these ideas, and, of course, I got Libertarian Light from Neil Bortz, and then I got hardcore libertarianism when I first heard Free Talk Live. And
may I ask, Dodger, which station you heard us on? Just curious.
It was... it would have been one of two. It would have either been WKZO or WKMI. They were on delayed.
Yep.
It was delayed back then.
Kalamazoo.
At either rate.
Kalamazoo.
Yeah, Kalamazoo.
Yeah. KZO. We were on KZO back in the day. Great station. I wish they still had us. But I love these stories, man. I love it when we hear about people finding a better fit, right? So this is what you're saying.
Yeah.
He's always felt this way, and then we put words to it that made it clear that, oh, well, maybe I was sort of in the wrong category. This is what I've always believed, and this better describes it, even though categories aren't necessarily the best thing in the world. But
well, yeah, and
I can tell you exactly when I started listening to you guys. It was when the Edward Snowden thing was going on.
Oh, okay. So 5 years ago.
That's the first time. Yeah, that's the first time I ever heard you guys, and it was like it just kind of hit me. It's like, well, and I did my own research, and speaking of people that flip, I used to think that Glenn Jacobs was really principled, and then I heard his victory speech when he won the mayoral thing, and he was all about Republican.
Well, he ran as a Republican. I mean, I doubt Glenn Jacobs has become less principled. I'm not going to say anything about him flipping anyway. I've never seen any evidence of that.
I guess we'll see once he actually becomes a mayor, because right now he's just mayor-elect. But at either rate, it's for me, I think it's something I always was. I just didn't, I was getting all of my information from the left-wing media, and so they were clumping in, libertarians with all of these other people, and they just called them all libertarians. I'm libertarians bad, libertarians bad, libertarians bad. And then I actually heard the non-aggression principle. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense.
But don't most people at some level agree with the non-aggression principle? I mean, that's how most people live their lives,
They
right?
will, but most people believe in it, but.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that, but. And then they come up with all of these reasons why non-aggression doesn't actually work. But yet, if you show them the practical application of, all right, so every day you have probably dozens of interactions with other people, and you never once think about, trying to bring in some cop to make them do what you want them to do. You go to McDonald's and you hand them money and they hand you food.
Or if
at
you're trying
no point during that interaction do you think, I need to bring in cops.
Right. You're trying to persuade people in life. You're trying to convince them to buy your product or join your religion or whatever. Go ahead.
But what and I guess it was my realization that once you advocate the force to to get your own way, I'm not physically going out and dragging drug dealers to jail, but I'm there's somebody advocating for doing that, or any of these victimless crimes. It's I just realized that I guess one day it just kind of hit me, like, I guess I always believed this way, I just never realized that it was an option.
Dodger, I want to thank you for calling and sharing your story with us. Definitely appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. Bad Slave is on the line in New Hampshire. Go ahead, Bad Slave.
Hi.
Hey there.
Listen, I'm on the same page with you guys and the gentleman that was just speaking. I never ever really. I mean, I went into a kindergarten when I was 4 years old in Cleveland, and when I went there, I was confronted with authoritarianism, and it was distasteful to me at 4.
I remember them washing people's mouths out with soap in preschool.
Wow.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's exactly the it's like, and my thoughts have evolved, of course, in the last 63 years that I've been alive. I have come to the conclusion that the people that operate this way, the authoritarians, the coercers, the shall I say tyrants, in most cases, that those people are actually suffering from a lack of actually advancing in their own mindset and control function, and basically they're stuck in a place that has them back, because when you're a kid, you still fight, you still, well, some of us were all trained also to use punishment, to, coerce us to be.
Well, yeah, better. And I think a lot of it is the cycle of abuse. Bad Slave, thank you for the call tonight. Where even if you're born free, and if you believe that you're born free, and you're born believing these things, that eventually enough abuse happens to you from these authoritarians, these people who believe in violence, that you start acting like them and acting that out. But we can continue the discussion coming up.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown, but these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the crown, not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Good news on the magic mushroom front plus Venezuela. We can cover all of those things if we get the chance, but of course your calls and thoughts will put you on the air about whatever you want. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. We're talking about natural libertarians, for lack of a better term. People who
That's a good way to put it.
Were born that way. And I wonder, to myself, I remember there's like an Ernie Hancock quote. Ernest Hancock's the host of Declare Your Independence, where he talks about there's two kinds of people in the world: the people who don't want to be told what to do, and the people who want to tell other people what to do. And I wonder if there's a third type of person, the type of person who wants to be told what to do. I mean, those people definitely exist.
Certainly.
So I have to
wonder.
I
would even say that within liberty circles, there are people that want a leader, and I'm using air quotes there, but they want sort of a benevolent leader that they'll let me do what I want, but there are other people that are bad, and they are the ones that really need to be controlled.
But leadership isn't really the problem. That's not really what somebody who's a libertarian probably or of that philosophy kind of dislikes. It's being told what to do. It's more like being told what to do,
involuntarily.
Yeah, right, and being forced to do something as opposed to participating in something.
Yeah,
if you have a good leader, they're going to invite you to participate. They're not going to force you.
Correct. The leader shows the way by leading the way, leading by example.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So I do want to, I do find myself wondering: are these people that way by nature? Are people born wanting to be authoritarian? Are they born libertarian? Are they born, wanting to be told what to do? Or is some of that developed over environment and parents?
And I think there's probably also some Venn diagram overlap here of the people that want to be told what to do are also the people that want to tell others what to do.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's probably true. I don't know. I'm just asking, openly asking if you want to comment.
And whenever there are any number of conversations, there's always going to be somebody that they're so used to everything being centrally planned in their life, asterisks, except for the vast majority of their day-to-day life that is not being controlled by some central authority. But they think, well, if the Libertarians take over and they get rid of this government entity and that government entity, then who would wind up doing fill-in-the-blank thing?
The crazy thing is there's nothing that says you can't have organizations within the, have this philosophy and still have organizations to do those types of things. It's just not being forced on anybody.
Right, and if it's not being forced, then that means it's not being centrally planned. So there's not one person saying, this is who builds the roads, this is who delivers the mail, this is who bakes the pizza.
Toll-free number if you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE. Let's go to David. He's in New Mexico on our Discord on-air call-in line room. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Asterix that. I saw you up all night playing games, Ian, and now you're dragging a little bit, aren't you?
No, I wasn't up all night playing games. I was up for an hour playing games last night, but it was late.
Oh, yeah.
You're referring to our Twitch channel, twitch.lrn.fm.
Right, yeah. You sounded a little tired, and then I looked at your camera, and you, for the minute I looked at it, you happened to be yawning.
Okay,
anyway,
well, thanks for the analysis. What's your call about?
It's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt. On what you're talking about, actually, I'm calling on what you were talking about earlier before you changed topics. You were talking about government censorship, and I wanted to share the thing that I think that you missed. You probably know it, but you didn't speak it. You're talking about government censorship, and non-government entities are just as much involved in that censorship as the government entities. So you're familiar, you agree with that or disagree?
Well, sure. I mean, there's, I'm sure you will give an example, radio stations or television stations or whatever other, government licensed agencies preventing certain viewpoints from getting on the air.
I think he's talking more like YouTube and
no, I know. He's
I know exactly what he's talking about. And there are people that will come up with this sort of thing whenever somebody gets fired from NPR, that their First Amendment rights are being infringed. Well, NPR's never given me money. Are they infringing on my First Amendment rights?
Let's talk about Facebook. You're correct. I can drag any entity into it, including the ones you're thinking of and the ones you're not thinking of. But to avoid labeling David Olson, let's pick on something that you would pick on. Let's pick on Facebook. Here's something I bet you didn't know. When people get blocked, there's various different ways. The company itself, like Facebook or any other, they can block you. The user that has an account, they can block you, et cetera, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. You're probably not familiar that I discovered by using the things that we're mentioning, Facebook, trying to make a comment on a Facebook Live that was going on. So in the context of Facebook Live involving a guy who just lost, Jeff Apodaca in the state of New Mexico. His father was the governor. Now the son is trying to be governor, but he lost in the primary. And so after he loses in the primary, now he's on the radio station. So there we bring in the radio. And in addition to the radio, he's doing a 1-hour thing once a week with the enemy station. And they're and New Mexico Democrats for Democracy, that on their mission statement page, whatever, say that they want to reach across the aisle, they want all voices to be heard, and all that happy horse blank. So and then the first thing that they do is block my voice the second that I criticize what they're doing, even though they're against that. Now here's what you didn't know.
So they blocked you on Facebook and on the air?
Exactly. They blocked me moment one. My very first contact with this political organization who has hired the dynasty, the Apodaca, New Mexico dynasty, to represent them on the air and elsewhere. The very first thing I said to them in that forum was, is there a moderator here? Because I wanted to ask a question pertaining to that I had criticisms, and I was afraid that they were going to block me if I simply criticized without clearing it with them first.
But they blocked you for just asking if there was a moderator?
Yes.
I guess that answered the question.
Thanks for the call, David. I do appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. So frustrating, right? When he was told that everybody's welcome and then he's not welcome. I can totally understand that frustration. Obviously, they're liars, right?
Yeah,
they're BSing. Right. They want to appear as though there are these welcoming.
Well, by everybody, we didn't mean you.
Yeah. So they want to make it
typical.
Right. They want to make it appear as though they're being inclusive when in fact they're excluding the most critical voices. And that's because a good critic is going to ask tough questions that they probably won't have answers for, and they don't want to be caught with their pants down. Right. And that's, the truth. That's true with all these talk shows as well, where it's not open phones on most talk shows, where you must agree with the host in order to get on the air. You can't be a contrarian. You can't be dissenting. You can't disagree with the host. And so that same sort of mentality goes on these other platforms like Facebook, which is why it's important to cultivate alternatives to these big platforms. And let's talk a little bit about Mastodon coming up here in a moment.
Yeah.
It's Free Talk Live.
This is Fred. Hi, I'm Fred. Fred's a repeater. I tend to repeat. Fred has a business. I do have a business. And a problem. Fred repeats the same tired advertising over and over, and now it doesn't work. Over and over. But Fred is about to see a vision. I'm seeing a vision. Advertising on the Genesis Communications Network is the smart way for Fred to reach his potential customers with the most affordable national advertising rates, period. Get started today with GCN, the Genesis Communications Network. Just email advertise@gcnlive.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
The easiest thing in the world for a reader to do is to stop reading, according to the late, great Barney Kilgore, who became managing editor of the Wall Street Journal in 1941 and grew the paper's circulation from 33,000 to 1 million by the 60s. And he'd be pleased to know that his paper is one of the few that people now pay to read online. Someone else pre-internet who realized that attention is fragile? Motown Motown Records founder Berry Gordy. In the early 60s, when his label dominated the charts, he'd bring a dozen real people into the Hitsville, USA studios and audition songs. And he'd ask, if you were down to your last dollar, would you spend it on this record or would you buy a sandwich? Today, attention span seems like an oxymoron. For tips on cutting through the clutter, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. We got good news on the way about magic mushrooms. Maybe we can talk about Venezuela as well. You can bring up whatever's on your mind here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. I do want to let you know about AnyPay. You go to anypay.global. If you are in retail, this is for you. If you operate a retail business, you're a manager, you're an owner, and you want to be able to take cryptocurrency at the point of sale, AnyPay makes it super easy. If you've already got a tablet at your point of sale, you're almost done. You just go to anypay.global, you create your account, username, password, you're in. There's no application fee, there's no application process, there's no paperwork, there's no government involvement. You just get your account, then you put your crypto addresses in on the setup page, and you load the app on the point of sale device. That's it. Now you're accepting Bitcoin, Dash, Zcash, and some others. Anypay.global. Go there and get started tonight.
And
Anypay.global.
Super easy. I used it twice today to pay for various things.
I used it once myself. Yep. It's great. I'm sorry, Chris. I accidentally had you muted. So try that again.
Did I hear you say Zencash?
No, Zcash.
Oh, Zcash.
But I hear they're working on Zen. I hear they're working on Zen. Now, when that will be available, I don't know. It's one of those things when it's done is when it'll be available.
Zcash is still interesting to me because it's still based on zero coin.
Right, the zero knowledge anonymity. I haven't tested Zcash recently, so I don't know what status it is, but I presume since it's in the ad copy that it's hopefully working. Bitcoin Cash is not working right now. They're working on that in the behind the scenes, so hopefully that'll be sometime, I'm hoping this fall. But we'll keep you in the loop. As new cryptos are announced for AnyPay, we'll let you know when that happens here. Go to anypay.global and check that out. All right, so the toll-free number here again, 855-450-FREE. I mentioned decentralization. We talked earlier, Chris, you'd given an example of how you decentralized your video serving, meaning that it's not that it's completely decentralized, it's still centralized on your server.
You're still running a server.
It's not when I'm using the word decentralized within this context, it's basically not being hosted by an entity.
The powers that be.
Yeah, who controls it is what I'm talking about. And
is there a better word for that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, because decentralization would mean that it's on a bunch of servers. If it's running from your server, then you're hosting your content. You're not relying on a third-party distributor.
It's still a third party. It's not. That's still not even really true because we're still relying on a host of some kind. Now the thing is, it's more about the control of that host. So if that host says
you're not going through AlphaGoog.
If we won't, if the host says we won't, do business with you anymore, well, I can just set up another host. But you can't do that with YouTube, right? So, correct. and that's what it comes down to.
I wonder, there's got to be a term for this, right? Like deplatforming or
let's see, self-hosted as opposed to cloud-hosted.
Independently hosted. Maybe independently
hosted.
Instead of like mega corporate hosted or whatever.
Yeah, and if you did something like, was a library or I'm trying to think what are some of the other ones.
Libraries.
Now that would be decentralized.
That's decentralized media.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But you can't really do live streaming through any kind of decentralized
way. And that's exactly
way.
why we haven't... No, that's actually not entirely true either. At least it shouldn't be. So
you can't live stream through Library because Library runs on a blockchain, and you can't live stream through a blockchain.
So not Library.
I don't know if it's entirely run on a blockchain. I think there's some other media distribution system that they have that's decentralized.
There are some platforms that you can, like Spi.ch, you can upload a video to, and then that somehow gets put onto the thing, and it's very complicated, and people want to say that it's all on a blockchain.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
But if it's on a blockchain, you can't live stream video through a blockchain because of how long it takes for the block to confirm.
Yeah.
And then the amount of data.
It's not on a blockchain. blockchain. I've talked to them about this, but you're correct. You can't do what you're saying there.
Yeah, that doesn't even make sense to me either.
Right, and there are people that just love to, especially in the tech industry, they love to throw out the word blockchain. We're going to fill in the blank on a blockchain.
Blockchain's a ledger. It's a distributed ledger, and it's good for certain things. But live streaming is not one of those things.
Did come out with a solution for decentralized live streaming.
Really?
It failed in the marketplace, unfortunately, and it no longer exists.
Yeah.
I don't know if
maybe
you can download the source code
and
like build it and make it work, but it did exist. Unfortunately, BitTorrent. I'm not 100% sure if all the code was released that would be needed in order to like fork it. But yeah, so theoretically it can be done. It
would be difficult.
There's still going to be there's still going to be a server or some sort of computer that then streams, but the reason it's decentralized is because you're not relying on a centralized host. So you're relying on other users to basically duplicate that content in terms of bandwidth.
Yeah, the problem there, of course, is different users are going to be in different places in the world and at different, bandwidths, and there will be different latencies involved, and it could be very difficult to piece together a live video feed from that.
Yeah, so there is actually a solution to that too, which partially relies on centralizing it, but at a lower bandwidth rate, so lower quality video, it can be done entirely independently of any kind of centralization. But when you add in servers of your own, then that are much faster, then all of a sudden you can get the 1080p and so forth.
I believe that what you're saying is technically possible, but like you said, it's just not present.
Then the reason it's lower bandwidth is because of the upload bandwidth on your average user's stream is lower. So I might have 20 megabits a second downstream, but most cases I'll only have maybe a megabit upstream, and that's not going to give somebody enough bandwidth within that decentralized network to have high quality streams.
But if you go to one of these torrent sites and you search for something that's not necessarily the most popular thing, there might not even be that many people seeding the thing, and then it takes a really long time to download. So if you've got somebody trying to do a live stream of something that's not a popular show, there's not going to be enough people that are seeding that.
So back up a moment. If it's not a popular show, then you don't need the bandwidth, so it's not even an issue.
But you still need to have somebody seeding the thing.
We're talking about the idea of decentralized
well, there's going
to
be one seed. As soon as you have other people watching the show, they're also becoming seeds automatically. It's not like BitTorrent in that you don't have to seed. In these types of technologies, the users always seed. So
I see what you're saying. He's saying the live viewers would be the seeds that are watching live.
Yeah.
So then you would have sort of like a daisy chain effect where some viewers are seeing it a little bit later on because the first viewers are sort of retransmitting that.
That's actually the case even with a self-hosted solution. It's going to be slightly delayed.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's true.
Right, there's always going to be a little bit of a delay, like 2 seconds, 5 seconds, etc.
Yeah.
So if you want to join us, you can. The reason I brought it up, though, was to mention this thing called Mastodon, which has gotten some discussion on the air here on Free Talk Live over the last, I would say, over the last several weeks. And you had mentioned that you guys had a server that you guys put up over at Think Penguin, just for a private server for you and Bob. But I took a look at that, and I'm like, oh god, do I really want to start up my own? Should Free Talk Live launch one of these servers? Was kind of what I was thinking, right? Like, because I like the idea.
It would be good if you want to encourage people to use it.
Of decentralizing social media, right? Because that's what Mastodon does. It takes sort of the Twitter format of a relatively short post. I think their limit's 500 characters with Mastodon, which is more than Twitter actually allows, I believe.
Okay.
But
I'm not familiar with Twitter.
The relatively short posts. Well, right. One of the differences between Twitter and Facebook is Twitters are shorter. Tweets are shorter. And so to have the tagging where you do the @ symbol in the person's name, to have the hashtags where you put words with a pound symbol in front of it, and people can search that stuff. So they've completely aped Twitter. Like they've knocked off Twitter. And they've done a good job of it. It looks good. It's a nice, easy to use system. Like, it's slick. I was impressed with it. And I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to start a server? Because then I got to deal with moderation, and I really didn't want to do it. And at the same time, I really wasn't ready to start one. or to even join somebody else's server. But then I saw that somebody started one for Libertarians, and I thought, you know what? All right, I'll jump on this person's server and we'll try this out. We'll see how Mastodon works. And so I've done it. There's a Free Talk Live channel, so you can follow the Free Talk Live posts about, like, you know, whatever things that they're posting over on the Facebook page. Because I've got it set up to where it auto posts over to Mastodon. So you can go to our Mastodon feed at toot.freetalklive.com, TOOT, because they call them toots instead of tweets.
Yeah.
Toot.freetalklive.com. That'll take you right to our feed and sign you up for it. It's Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Heart-related health problems affect millions of people each year. Maybe you're one of the many who suffer from issues related to angina pain, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, unbalanced cholesterol, irregular heartbeat, or clogged arteries. There is a solution that doesn't involve expensive prescription drugs that only mask the problem and leave you with horrible side effects. If you are ready to live your life free of sickness, pain, and fear, live your life with increased vitality, energy, and youthfulness, and experience your body healing itself, then you're ready for Heart and Body Extract from Healthy Hearts Club. Here is what one satisfied customer had to say about Heart and Body Extract regarding his angina pain.
I haven't had an angina pain since I've been on it. The Heart Body Extract is just so great. I thank God that I was led to this product that's doing so much for me and that can do so much for other people.
Call to order your 2-month supply of Heart and Body Extract today. Call 1-866-295-5305 or go to hbextract.com.
Free Talk Live.
There are certain cultures in the world that when they get up every day, the first thing they say is death to America. I don't know why. That's just how they feel about it.
Why do you think someone would be so angry, so dedicated, that they might be willing to sacrifice their own life to destroy the people of a country that are half a world away? Why do you think that would be?
Well, capitalism and our democratic system is counter to things that they believe in.
Has nothing to do with bombs being dropped on their countries?
Let's look at who started that. Are we supposed to not defend ourselves?
Wow. Do you think the world just
organizing globally to attack us?
Do you
in
think
any way
the world started on 9/11? Do you really believe that the United States was the victim in this world conflict?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here. Here in these remaining moments, there's enough time for you if you dial in. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Discord as well. You can join us on the Discord server, discord.lrn.fm. People are chatting in there during the show, and they will usually chat after and before, and 24 hours. There's people in and out of that server, and there's voice chat rooms. There's also text chat on various different topics, not just Free Talk Live, but cryptocurrency, video games, other stuff. Go to discord.lrn.fm. And we were just talking about Mastodon, which is a...
Decentralized?
Yeah, we didn't really focus on the decentralized aspect, I don't think, in the last segment.
Federated.
So I think it's important to point that out. Federated's probably a new term for some people. Can you describe what that means?
I think it just means you're connected to multiple different others. Parties, basically.
Correct. So it's decentralized. So Mastodon is a replacement for Twitter. And of course, a lot of people know that Twitter's been ban happy, right? Like, oh, Twitter doesn't like something you said, you're done, or banned for 7 days, or whatever the arbitrary time limit is. And so that's driving people away from that platform. They want to find something where they're not going to be censored. And this Mastodon platform is, from what I can tell, the best alternative out there to it.
Yeah.
Wherein it's decentralized, meaning that anybody can run a server, and it's federated, meaning that those servers are connected to one another, sort of like in the same way for those maybe.
So is this kind of like the diaspora thing, only somehow different?
I don't know how that works.
I think diaspora was more like Facebook as opposed to this being more like Twitter.
Right, but
was diaspora decentralized, though?
Yes. Diaspora was supposedly decentralized and federated, but
never took off.
There were a bunch of problems with people on one server actually being able to interact with people on other servers.
Meaning they couldn't interact, but they wanted to?
In a lot of cases, they couldn't. And it was...
Sounds like a nightmare.
It was clunky, and it was garbage.
I wouldn't call this either of those things.
Garbage.
I would call this slick. I would call it smooth. It looks good. It definitely.
And what about GNU Social? That was something that was trying to take off recently.
I hadn't heard about that until last night.
I have heard of it. I do know what GNU Social is roughly, but I've never really used it.
I looked at their server, their test server, and it looked crappy.
That was also
it's been around
distributed, federated. One of the ones that I used was Quitter.no.
Okay.
So I used Quitter.no because I knew some people that had used that, and they were trying to promote that as a Twitter alternative. And then it never really took off, and I just happened to have been reminded of the website recently and went to take a look. How long's it been since I actually used this thing? It had been about 2 years. And at the top of the page, a big giant thing that says Quitter.no is shutting down September 5th.
Bummer.
So something people have to remember is that a lot of these technologies have there's a precursor to them. So GNU Social is sort of the precursor. It's been around, I think, a lot longer, and it's not based off of the modern, all the fancy stuff. And that's probably what we're seeing. And there hasn't really been a huge community of people outside of the free software community that's even bothered to try a lot of these services.
Right.
But now that we're seeing more censorship on all these different platforms from Twitter to YouTube, people are looking into these newer versions.
The censorship is definitely driving interest.
And so you're seeing people move to Mastodon. You're seeing more technical people actually adopt it, and not just the free software people. And so you're seeing people like you, Ian, where you've actually heard of it. I mean, I only recently have gotten on board with Mastodon and really had a chance to try it, and I'm not a social person, networking person at all. Look, the only things I really do are like Slashdot, and I'm an anonymous coward, guys. I don't even have an account. So, if I'm looking into it and I'm saying it's good,
I'm saying it's good.
Yeah, you're probably gonna like it, I think.
Yeah, I signed up accounts for myself personally, and I followed your account on your server.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then I've got the Free Talk Live account. You can go to toot.freetalklive.com, toot.freetalklive.com. There's one for Freekeen that I created. There's one for LRN.fm. So basically all the ones that had Twitters before, I've linked up now to Mastodon.
So there's I know I think about it. We're not totally integrated with freedomdecrypted.com, but we do have whenever I make a post, it does automatically toot.
Oh, so you already are doing it with Mastodon. Okay.
So I did to some level, it's integrated now.
I found an article from a website called hackernoon.com from about a year ago saying Mastodon is dead in the water.
Definitely not.
And hold on. So there's a fairly lengthy article, but skipping down to the end, he addresses what he refers to as the elephant in the room.
Which is their icon. They've got the elephant icon.
He says the foremost problem is that federation is a lie. He says the benefits described above, and he describes how Mastodon is supposed to work. He says if you send a message to anyone at username at custom.website, it will be delivered to them. But if at custom.website is a domain that mastodon.social deems inappropriate, replies from that user on that domain do not show up in your notification or your feed unless you have already followed that person. Additionally,
that's not uncommon. Hold on. Now that's not uncommon as far as Twitter is concerned. But you can't do a direct message with somebody unless you follow them.
No. This isn't saying a direct message. This is saying if you post a thing. So on Twitter, I can tag somebody in a tweet if I'm not following them. They can respond to that tweet, and I get a notification. This is saying you will not get notifications if they respond to your thing where you have tagged them.
Unless you follow them?
Unless you have followed them. It also says that you will not see any responses from their friends unless you were following their friends.
Okay. I don't really want to see them anyway.
But one of the things I think...
But maybe it's part of a conversation where you and Chris are chiming and Chris is responding to something and you have no clue what he's responding to. You would like to see what he's responding to.
So I think what people have to remember is that, yes, there is censorship that can be enabled and enacted essentially within your group of friends, so to speak. But if you don't like that censorship, you can move to a different server or set up your own server and not have that censorship.
But what about the problem here that he's describing of you don't see the full conversation in a thread?
Have you ever seen Twitter? It's so hard to see a full conversation on Twitter. Twitter is awful at trying to figure out what the hell's already been said in a conversation. Half the time, I cannot see what's actually gone on when somebody does a reply. It's so confusing and so Byzantine to try to understand what was going on in a conversation on Twitter. So if it's about the same as Twitter, then they've done a good job as as far as knocking off Twitter. Is it a perfect platform? I doubt it. But I wouldn't worry too much about it. I really wouldn't. But please, if you want to continue with whatever the critique is.
Continuing on. And again, I've not read this entire thing. I'm just scrolling through and trying to...
And they're saying that's if Mastodon blocks a particular server is the only way it will behave this way.
No, he's saying that if the server has deemed something inappropriate content...
He said if Mastodon.social has blocked a server as inappropriate content, then it behaves in the way you're describing.
That's assuming that you're on that server.
He also says that you will not see, regardless of whether Mastodon has said you're inappropriate, if you tag Chris in a post and you're having a conversation with Chris, any of Chris's friends that are commenting on the thing, you will not see their comments at all.
That's your interpretation of what he's saying. But that's not necessarily... I mean, we have not tried that, right? So we don't really know for sure if that's what he's actually saying.
I mean,
right, so he's making it sound like the Federation is broken to where if you can't actually have actual conversations with people unless you have accounts on every server, then it seems like it might be broken.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Like I said, I haven't tested it. I don't know what this guy's
seen any issues with it,
But we may not have tried what exactly he's talking about. So
I mean, maybe
if you want to create an account, Darryl, me and Chris can have a conversation and then tag you or something.
I understand what he's. I think I understand what he's getting at, and we're trying to say, and I don't think that's an issue. It's only if. So it's like if you can have. It's the whole Nazi thing, kind of. So if there's a group of Nazis and they set up their own servers and they connect their servers to you, and those servers don't like your server or your group, they can not federate with you, essentially. So, yeah, of course.
But what about let's say that you and Ian are having a conversation, and I'm following you, but I'm not following Ian, and I take part in the conversation, Ian not seeing any of my responses, and then getting confused about what you're responding to when you respond to me.
It's getting a little too confusing to even understand this on the air, Darryl. So we're just going to move on. But if you want to test this off the air, we're certainly, happy. I'm sure you and I would be happy to test it with Darryl
absolutely.
And see exactly. Maybe you could go sign up on a Nazi server or something like that.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with Nazi servers.
Does Chris Cranton have a server yet for his?
I'm joking. I'm saying maybe you could sign up on like one of the normal servers, and we'll be on different servers, and we can see if that stuff works. But otherwise, and then
I don't really want to be a beta tester.
Well, you're the one here critiquing it, so we should probably see if what you're saying is actually true, so we can report back to our listeners who heard this conversation at a later time, maybe next week. We'll see you tomorrow. freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
The Torchwood Report is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, August 24th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.67 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,193 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $20, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,524. Antiwar.com reports a day after both the Afghan government and U.S. government declined offers to attend, the Taliban has announced they have accepted Russia's invitation to a multinational peace talks to be held next month in Moscow. The Taliban issued a statement saying it is their intention to send a delegation led by the head of their political office, which is based in Qatar. The U.S. recently held talks with Taliban from that office. The Taliban's acceptance is a significant boost for the talks. Russia has reported inviting 12 nations to the talks, though as yet, we don't know which will be attending. Having the Taliban there will give the talks at least some meaning and credibility. The Afghan government has said that they want talks to be one-on-one with the Taliban and no external countries involved. The Taliban, by contrast, had said they believe they need assurances from other countries, particularly the United States, and don't think talks with the Afghan government by itself would be particularly meaningful. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global.
UPI reports as California firefighters battled the largest fires in state's history, Verizon slowed wireless data speeds to a crawl, making it almost impossible for emergency personnel to use some of its high-tech tracking equipment. Santa Clara County Fire Chief Anthony Bowden said emergency personnel heavily rely on internet services to monitor fast-moving fires and coordinate resources. The fire department has an unlimited government plan with Verizon, but the company slowed or throttled data speeds once the agency reached a certain threshold, according to Bowden in an August 20th court filing. Bowden said the internet has become an essential tool in providing fire and emergency response, particularly for events like large fires, which require the rapid deployment and organization of thousands of personnel and hundreds of fire engines, aircraft, and bulldozers. Keeping emergency personnel connected requires a lot of data. While battling the Mendocino complex fire, Bowden said his department's mobile communications center sent and received 5 to 10 gigabytes of data through a wireless router daily. During that time, Verizon reduced speeds that slowed service of the equipment to dial-up speeds. Santa Clara County Fire Captain Bill Murphy told CNN simple tasks like sending an email or updating a Google document were almost impossible. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports a federal judge sentenced former U.S. intelligence contractor Reality Winner on Thursday to more than 5 years in prison after she admitted leaking a top-secret report on Russian interference in U.S. elections to a media outlet. Winner, who has spent already nearly 2 years in jail, pled guilty in June to passing the National Security Agency report to The Intercept in 2016. One of her attorneys, Titus Nichols, said Winner is receiving credit for the time she spent in pretrial confinement. During a hearing in Winner's hometown of Augusta, Georgia, Judge James Hall approved her lawyer's request for a 63-month sentence, followed by 3 years of supervised release, according to Nichols. It was one of the longest sentences ever given to someone for illegally disclosing government information, according to Nichols. Winner's attorneys said in a statement the sentence and accompanying plea agreement both reflect that Reality recognizes that actions have consequences and that she has learned from her mistakes and is prepared to accept the consequences of her actions. Winner admitted to intentionally printing a copy of the intelligence report in her office and mailing it to the news outlet. She was indicted on a single federal count of willful retention and transmission of national defense information, a felony under the Espionage and Censorship Act that carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Betsy Reed, editor-in-chief of The Intercept, said in a statement that Winner should be honored and that her sentencing and other prosecutions of whistleblowers were attacks on freedom of speech and of the press. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The Tallahassee Zoo, which faced a major budget crisis. Luckily, they were able to get both, keep guests and animals happy and stay profitable.
And that's thanks to the zoo's new director, Maxwell Jeffries.
Happy to be here, thank you.
Good morning.
Now, what's the most profitable part of the zoo? The elephants, the tigers?
No, the gift shop, okay? Food court. But now the entire zoo is the gift shop. So you come to the zoo, you look around, you see something you like, make me an offer. I'm a businessman. I want to make people happy. You're probably familiar with the old saying, don't feed the animals.
Oh, right, of course.
Okay, well, that's old-fashioned thinking. At our zoo, you can feed the animals.
Anything you want?
Anything you want. Oats, eggs, batteries, you name it. And we also invented a new tiered membership system. So for your standard membership, you go to the zoo, you get to see the animals. For your gold level membership, you get to pick any two animals, make them fight each other. Yeah, and then with a platinum, you get 1 hour alone in the zoo. No questions asked. Yeah.
Wow.
This is the Onion News Network.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Torchwood Report. I am Matthew Taylor, joined as always by the one true Niz. Today is Friday, August 24th, 2018, and guys, do we have a 2-week event in store for you tonight. So before we get into what has happened over that time frame, I'm going to kick it over to Niz with our weekly announcement.
This broadcast is covered by the BIPCOT No Government License. That means that you are free to use or rebroadcast portions or segments of this show so long as you are not an agent or advocate for government. If you fail to heed this warning, you will be socially shamed. For more information, please visit bipcot.org. That's BIPCOT.org.
Yeah. So sorry, as you can kind of hear something going on in the background here as I just got attacked by my mic stand. Anyways, so Niz, we haven't been on for 2 straight weeks, and there has been a lot of craziness that has occurred in the time frame. But I think before we get into, last week or even just the unfolding events that's happened over the last couple of days, we really have to get into something that is just absurd coming out of Florida. And it's absurd enough that it's going to backburner these other stories and make us talk about it first. So, Niz, I know you know what I'm talking about. And do you want to give us a little bit of a hint? Do you want to play with this one? Paul Fart. This is amazing. All right, so anyways, guys, this is a story of a security guard out of Florida who has been let go from his duties protecting the nighttime premises for trying to become a viral star while at work. Now, his plan seemed harmless enough when looked at, from the eyes of the everyday person, at work. But when looked at from the eyes, right? But when looked at from the eyes of an employer, you'll really quickly see why he lost his job the second he took his site public, and that is because he was recording every time he was farting while on the job. So basically, it was
for a long time, dude.
Yeah,
for a long time. Like you cannot understate the amount of time. I mean, you're talking about this guy was doing this since March 25th.
He's got
That's a long time.
But he uploaded it to Instagram and quickly became famous online and accumulated more than 45,000 followers. His videos are basically the same. It features Paul sitting there starting to talk, and he farts. And this has started to really kind of catch on. Well, I mean, at the same time, what do you expect when you're also wearing a corporate uniform with the name of the company you work for, and you just happen to represent, their security? I'm pretty sure that if you were my janitor...
But they go on to say that that's not even why. He wasn't fired because of the farts. Right. He was fired because of the amount of time that he was spending on his phone, not doing his job.
Well, I mean, think about what it would be like trying to become a internet viral sensation when what do you call it? When all you are doing is sitting there on your phone, you're never going to have the time to do your job. And
right. So here's my guess. Right. So his videos are only a couple of seconds long. It's not like he's making half an hour or hour long videos. He's only making a few second long videos of him farting. The issue comes in when you have 45,000 followers is this constant stream of notifications. And more than likely, he began to be addicted to checking these notifications, which led to him being on his phone constantly and therefore fired.
Right, and I'm looking right now, checking in to see exactly where he sits at total fans in general. I do know that he is large enough that he has a patronage page,
Patreon.
or Patreon page, that allows, if you don't know what that is, which allows your fans to actually donate to you and basically try to help you fund whatever it is you're doing on whatever social site that you are using it with. So, I mean, that also comes into the account too, though, which I'm sure had to play some sort of role. But most jobs don't appreciate you working while you're working. They kind of would prefer you to stay, focused on, just the company that you're present at, and not work side jobs while there.
Right, do the job you're being paid for.
Yeah, tends to grind their gears a little bit when they realize, there's somebody else out there that they could have been paying to be dedicatedly focused on the job and not, split half and half along with a fan base that's pulling, attention too. So, I mean, I got to tip my hat to him. It's definitely a unique idea that took off. I mean, it was funny up until the point where he couldn't figure out how to manage his time properly. And I think
here's the thing. There. Here's the thing too, man. There's not a lesson here because here's the crazy thing. Okay. In today's day and age, in today's society, so to speak, they might have actually done him a favor by firing him. I mean,
that's true.
Think about it. I mean, think about the amount of money that can be generated from YouTube videos and things of that sort.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They may have actually done him a favor by giving him the free time to focus solely on his farts.
I wonder if
this is the world that we live in today. This guy could actually end up maybe being a millionaire. Better chance of him actually maybe earning a living where he doesn't have to do any other type of job other than eat beans and fart. I mean, that's what's a crazy shit.
I'm wondering how long until he's getting sponsored by a bean company, because I was literally thinking that myself. Bush's
Flart, brought to you by Boston Baked Beans.
But it's kind of funny that this is the second time here that we've kind of discussed recently how current social culture is shifting in such a way that the standardized norm is not the status quo these days anymore, where a video gamer is the #1 sports athlete in the world, and you have more of an opportunity making to make it in this world by putting up videos online of you farting than staying at your 9-to-5 job. It's insane. This is not this is obviously not what anybody was prepared for, but I mean,
right,
honestly,
imagine you have a really difficult job that you don't get paid a whole lot of money for, and you are constantly living paycheck to paycheck. You're basically living hand to mouth. You don't know what's going to happen next week as far as your financial situation. 99% of America. And here's a guy